You at though? Oh, here you are.
Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Tremaine Hayhoe here. I am here and accompanied by a very special guest. We've got Bradley Laberman, who is the writer, director, star, producer, as well. I don't know other hats probably. Makeup department. I don't know. Oh, there you go. You got more hats.
I got more hats.
Yes, of BRADMAN the movie. Now, BRADMAN the movie is a brand new movie that just came out. It's on the Storyfire app. You can watch it right now. We have the link in that description, so if you guys want to watch this movie after this interview, check it out. Definitely recommend it. So, BRADMAN, welcome.
Welcome. Yes, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, doing excellent. Beautiful day.
That's good.
Yeah, I love the fall, love the little rainy fall. Hi, Sean. We got Sean in the house. How's it going, Sean? Sean, trucking. Are you good?
Am I good or Sean
yes. Good? We are both.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay. Cool. So I watched the movie the other night. I watched it 2 nights ago.
Okay.
And and I had a lot of fun with it. I had
That's
a lot
good.
of fun. Yeah, had a lot of fun with it. And so it was definitely I don't know. It's hard. Well, this is a compliment. Okay, this is a compliment.
Okay.
It was a lot better than I expected. It was even better than I expected. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know what to expect because I mean, hey, it's a indie movie, right? And I've seen a lot of indie movies, and but I'm honest with friends. Like if friends make a movie and it's not good, I tell them, and I'm like, hey, I didn't like it. I wasn't even entertained. That's the worst thing, you know what I mean? If a movie's not even entertaining, I think that's a crime and a sin, on filmmaking humanity. But I was entertained pretty much throughout this whole movie, and had a lot of fun with it. So
That's good. That's my goal. So it worked out. So
yeah. So tell me a bit about the process. So I guess the best way I can quickly describe the movie is BRADMAN is, or you can describe it too, BRADMAN.
So Bradley is just a regular guy, like comedian, does rideshare on the side, quit his job to try to bust into comedy sort of thing. It's just this regular guy and doesn't have a lot of stuff going for him. Meets a girl, they start to connect, and then all of a sudden he gets superpowers because his formula is shot from outer space, and then his real life and his superhero life all kind of merge together because he's got an ex-girlfriend who becomes a supervillain, and it's just, there's a lot of different things involved. And it's funny because I'm going to tell you this. This is a history lesson on this. Is I used to draw this comic in college and in high school, and so this movie is from college. I did this movie in college. On my phone right now is a full 90-minute version of the original movie that we shot for my senior project for college.
Oh,
and I always wanted to do a sequel. I'm going to do a sequel. And to be honest with you, if I showed you the 90s version, the 1998 version, you'd think it'd be pretty good. Because what happened was a professor came in, said, hey, we got this thing called Avid. Do you want to learn how to use it so you can show other people how to use it? And I was like, sure, can I make a movie on it? And so he let me make a movie on it for my senior project. But it ended up being a premiere at the college, and people got credit for going to see it. It was a good time, and they showed it for several.
By the way, guys, no one makes a feature film as a thesis. That's pretty impressive. A 90-minute feature film. Oh, everyone's always their thesis. Oh, I'm gonna make a 20-minute film, or a 20-minute short, or a 10-minute short. I knew guys that they took their parents' credit card. They spent $20,000, $30,000. And they make this terrible 10-minute long short film that goes nowhere. That does nothing, So that's pretty cool. Wow. So
and the thing was there was stuff that I had to take out. There was a Disco Inferno storyline that I never really fully flushed out that I thought about later on and did stuff with, an origin story and stuff like that. There was just random, all of a sudden she had powers and stuff there was some random things. There was a lot more swearing, and there was a lot of music in it. And then what happened was I had always like wrote a sequel for it, but I could never show the original because it had all this copyrighted music in it. So it kind of just died.
Yeah.
It kind of died. It lived on campus cable for several years, I guess, and in college, and then it just kind of died off. And so I'd always be like, well, I can make a sequel, but it wouldn't make any sense, and now it doesn't make any sense. And then one day I was like giving an Uber ride in LA, and I had a producer in the car, and the producer was like, why don't you just reboot the first movie if you've already got a second movie written, and if the first movie is well received. And I thought to myself, BRADMAN, the movie in college, was the thing that made me go off to do movies in my life. So I think I owe homage to this thing that I should do it better and clean up some stuff. But when I opened up that script and I started rewriting it in 2020, you don't understand how much stuff can be solved just by picking up a cell phone. And in 1998, and in 1998, that wasn't an issue. So so I had to rewrite it because he was a college kid in '98. I made him a comedian in this time period. I was able to flesh out the Disco Inferno stuff. I got permission from Steve Dahl to mention him in it. Like, he was all for it. He was like, "Yes, you can drag me into this thing. That would be great." And just various things like that, and added some things. I'd always thought it'd be funny to. Well, there's stuff I can't spoil, but there's stuff that I thought I want to put this in the movie because it would be weird and dumb. And then I thought I've always wanted to put that in there because it would be a funny thing. And then I added it. And you liked it, so that worked out.
Yeah. So how much of the original script? So how much would you say, based on what you revised and what it was originally? What would you say? How much is new? What is the original?
So when I shot the first movie, Jeannie, the girl that played Jeannie, was my roommate's girlfriend. So there's like so we just wrote in like no kissing. Like, we did a joke where every time they were trying to kiss, something would happen. And so the thing about the movie was it was only supposed to be shown on campus cable. One day, one of the kids, work study kids, flipped it over to city cable because we had a campus cable channel and a city cable channel. And it got shown on city cable. And my professor the next day said, "Hey, I watched BRADMAN the movie. I really enjoyed the relationship between BRADMAN and Jeannie." And I was like, "Oh, I never thought of that." He goes like, "It was a very good relationship. It's a very strong relationship." And so then I was like, you know what? When I redo this, I want to make it more of a love story. So I added some more of that to it. I added more of a rom-com. Not a rom-com feel, but like I wanted you to be really invested in the couple, like, especially because like a second and third movie really revolves around that relationship. And so I want to, but then the other thing was knowing what I want to do in the second and third movie, I was able to then go in and then put stuff in the first movie that will get called back later in other stuff. So that was the nice thing, because when a lot of people make movies, they're not planning on the future. They're not planning on other movies and stuff like that. Maybe once in a while they think about it and they go, "Oh, I'll put this in as an offhanded thing in case something happens later on." But I was able to like legitimately like write in stuff that can be used later on in a different movie. And then not to get ahead of myself, but I feel confident. Well, yeah. I feel confident I want to do a second one. I'm not to get ahead of myself that way. But that and like I said, there were things that happened that there were people that like. There were villains involved. Somebody had died in the original movie, and I was like, I don't want that in this movie. I want less of that. There was a big fights and a big argument between BRADMAN and Jeannie in the original movie that I took out of the. It was more because it was also a thing. It was like, this is what college kids would fight about, and adults wouldn't have this same argument. And so like I had to be like this. And then other things was my nieces and nephews sat down and watched the original movie with me because I made them watch it a long time ago. and my brother had seen it numerous times, and he said, and so they gave me like things. They said, you should do this or you should do that, and you should change this stuff around. And I was like, oh yeah, I should. And then I gave them writer's credits because they came up with these ideas or things that just really honestly made a lot more sense, because there was stuff that I had rewritten for stuff, and there was a whole like the training, not the training scene, but the one of the I can't really go into it because I don't want to spoil anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stuff got fleshed out, and like the biggest thing that got fleshed out, the thing I'm most proud of is the Disco Inferno origin story, because I'd always been like, I want it to totally mimic this, and the best part was I didn't get Stephen King's permission.
Wow.
Because I just wanted to make fun of him. Anyways, that's yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, what I was gonna say, like, what I really liked about this movie was the music. I mean, the music did play a big part of the whole movie. And
the nice thing around this time was, I had to pay for the disco songs, because those were songs that had to be in the movie. But then there's a lot of resources for movie makers that you can there's a lot of websites where you can get music rights for songs. And
I was going to ask about that. Like, and there was one particular, I don't know if you want to give it away, but there's one particular very famous song that is in this movie, and I was impressed that you got this song in there.
Which one?
Play That Funky Music, White Boy.
That was all right. So here, when you do music rights, so I used a company called Easy Song. I'll give them a plug. EasySong.com.
Okay.
You go and you say, here's the songs I want for movies. They charge you like a $200 starting fee or whatever like that. Then they go out and they find the songs. What a lot of music companies will do is say, I'll give it to you for $500, but if somebody else offers you more, then I want that amount. So I had gotten the ones I had. So we had Play That Funky Music. Oh no, we had Disco Inferno, and I had gotten Disco. Like I have to have Disco Inferno. Like that's the most important song that I have to have, and I'd always gotten it for $500. I worked with a person before Easy Song, and he was getting it for $500, so I got it for $500. So it's like, this is going to be $500, and then they charge a fee on top of that, a percentage finder's fee, and you have to pay for the music. Now, I'm not using, if you listen to the songs, I didn't use the original songs. I used cover versions of the songs.
Yeah, right. That's
cheaper.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
That's a tip, guys. That's a tip. Yeah.
Yes. Easy Song has a cover band that does it. And the key was the disco version, the Tramps cover version of Disco Inferno doesn't sound like Disco Inferno. But the Tina Turner cover version of Disco Inferno, which is what I use, sounds more like the Tramps version of the original. So that's what So they let you listen to a couple of them, and then I figured out which one I wanted. Then I got I Love the Nightlife. Because that was another one where I had a vision for how I wanted a scene to transition and how the music to go. And so I got that one, no problem. But then when we did Play That Funky Music, I had to negotiate a lot. But then that shot up the price because they didn't want it for a certain price. So that shot up the price, which then shot up the other two songs' price. I had other songs that I pulled out that I had originally used the song All For You in the original movie as a montage scene. I cut out the montage anyways because I realized there was too many montages in the original movie. I like montages, don't get me wrong, but in the 90s, montages were a thing. Nowadays, they're not really a thing. So I took those out. So I got rid of that. I was going to use, for a fight scene towards the end, I was going to use Standing Outside the Fire because it matched both villains in that regard, and it was country and it was fire. I pulled that one out last minute and was able to find an actually legitimate song that I had the rights to, so that was nice. And then other music was just, one of the actors had a song called Ride that I put in there. I love that song. Dan Bobick is I used to host a public access show a long time ago, so I had a lot of bands from Iowa that I'm friends with. And so for the alternative, there's a bar called the Flannel Club, and in the original movie, this because you go by dating and stuff like that. In the original movie, it's called the Polyester Club because in 1998, the 70s would have been the club to do. So everybody was dressed up in 70s clothes. So in this version, we did the Flannel Club, and Matt Weingarten was this singer, and I've always loved his music, and it was very alternative. And I said, could I use some of your songs? Some of these songs that I like in the 90s club scene because they fit the scene. And he was like, yeah. So all that music in that time is Matt Weingarten's music from the 90s. And Dan Bobek's New Bop is he sent it to me and said, what do you think of the song? And I was like, that's the intro to the movie. Like, that's the song that plays at the beginning of the movie, and it works perfect. Because in the original movie, it's like Chumbawamba's playing. Like,
Oh,
that's,
right. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it was a lot of that stuff. It was like Chumbawamba in one scene, and there's a scene where she walks away in a slow motion sequence, and it's Bittersweet Symphony's playing. Like, it's like you can tell the songs by. You can tell what year it is by the songs. Like 90s,
yeah. Like that was a great era of music.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yes, it was.
So going into this film, so you're revisiting a movie that you had already made. You're remaking it.
Yep.
And what was the whole process, start to finish, and release and all that stuff, and walk us through that. For
I was working a regular job in 2000, and my boss had seen Rideshare, your movie.
Okay, wait, 2000, not in 2000, in 2020 or?
I'm sorry, 2020.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, 2020. Yes, I'm sorry.
You could travel back in time.
I was working a job in 2020.
Yeah.
My boss had seen Rideshare, had seen some other projects I had done, and I was doing video work for these people, and like to the point where I'd be like, this is a rough draft, and they'd be like, that's a rough draft. Because you know,
nice.
and because you find a niche when you're like, I'm gonna do video work in the Midwest, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, this guy's really good, and really I'm whatever. I think I'm really good. I think I'm good at editing. But anyways, so he said, just offhand, he said, if you ever wanted to take, if you have, you have vacation time, if you want to take a week off or a couple weeks off to shoot a movie, then shoot a movie. And I was like, okay. And so I scheduled out 14 days. I scheduled out 10 days and then a couple weekends to shoot a movie in, based off of just my experience of shooting like Zeta and stuff like that in 14 days. And I think we did Rideshare in 14 days.
Yeah.
And you would have thought, like in Chicago where I was filming it, when I was talking to people and like, we're going to do this in 14 days, you would have thought people thought it was crazy. And I'm like, I'm sorry you guys are like used to like this Chicago film and all this other stuff that you're doing, but I'm gonna tell you guys, we're not gonna waste time. And that was the other thing, was like I'm very much like, we're gonna shoot the scenes we need to shoot. We're not gonna shoot stuff we don't need to shoot, because I'm gonna edit this so I know what I want, and we're gonna shoot this. And when I'm not in a scene, it goes even faster because I know exactly what shots we're gonna do. So, but it is, it's nice because you've got the screens, you got stuff like that. So I decided I'm gonna write the movie. So I started rewriting the movie, and literally one of my professors from college who was in the original movie sent me the original script. Like, had the original PDF.
Wow.
Had it because they were he had used 3 different scripts I had written in Intro to Theater class for things. I had rewritten Lysistrata to Lysistrata when I was in college, and he used that as the lesson for that chapter for Greek mythology. He's like, Bradley wrote this in college, and we're going to use this version because it's easier to follow and stuff like that. But anyway, so he sent me the script, loved him for that. I was able to like convert it over, and I had a base to work with. I went in, I changed. I realized everybody in the movie was white. In the original movie, and that's I'm in Iowa.
Yeah,
I'm in Iowa. It's 1998.
Right. Yeah,
I'm in a private school. There's the deal. But one thing was, Daisy and Fuerto's name was always Daisy and Fuerto, and so I was like, she needs to be Latina. So I went out and looked specifically for a Latina woman to play her. I looked for somebody to be Telly. I had somebody originally cast to play Jeannie. And then I decided, like, the character of Josh, Yusha, in the movie, in the new version, is Yusha. In the original, he was Josh, and he was in, like, one scene. But then in the process, I realized Josh was important for the sequel, so I put Josh into the movie more, and then I rewrote him as Yusha, because somebody in a film critic page said, how come every part written for a Muslim person is a terrorist? Or something like that. And I thought, No, you know what? I'll write a part right now. I'll make a character. I'll make a Muslim type character right now, and that won't be a terrorist, and put him in. So that's what I did, and that's where Yusha came from. I decided the police chief. Dre Boyd was great, and I thought he'd be perfect for the role, and he reminded me a lot of like a Carl Winslow type sort of thing. So I thought, you know what, that I want to go that way. I like this idea of, and I've got a really diverse cast out of the deal. If you saw the original cast and this cast, I was gonna say night and day, but that would somehow come off as racist. but anyway, so so I started doing that, and then the girl that was originally gonna, so so the hardest part about writing was I'm gonna actually write in like love stuff, you know, like you're writing in love.
I was gonna ask about that, yeah. And by the way, you're the character in the, you know, yeah. So what? Yeah, what is that like? Yeah.
So part of me is like, there's a bunch of things. Number one thing is, okay, I don't want anybody to watch this and be like, oh, that guy just wrote that in so he can make out with this person. Right. That's the number one tricky thing to do. So I had to make sure that it was clear, like, they're into each other. So I had originally cast a girl, and then she got a movie. She got a bigger role, a bigger thing, and I couldn't have her be, I can't be like, I don't know where this is going, so you go that way. That's fine. This is just an indie film, whatever. I'll find somebody else. And I originally cast, there's these two girls named Shasta and Fanta that are these two girls that hang out with Yusha in one scene. And Jenny was originally cast as one of them. Jenny Wardash, who ended up playing Jeannie, was cast as one of them. And I had, during the interview, we'd had a really good connection on stuff like that, chemistry and stuff like that. So I reached out to her. I said, all right, this is going to sound weird and whatever, because you're younger than the original girl is and whatever, but she doesn't necessarily, like we can age right. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I was able to we were able to even out. So she goes, yeah. So we met, and then we also like hung out, like platonically hung out, but to the point when we were shooting the movie, people would be like, "Are you guys really going out?" And we're like, "Nope, we're just that good at this." Wow. At this, and like we just do things like she'd come over and we'd binge watch movies, and we would do stuff to be like in character, so that and it was funny because like we'd do lines and stuff like that, and then like 2 days before we had to start shooting, I'm like, we had to kiss because we had to like that's a major important part of this movie is like we had to be comfortable with stuff. And that was the other thing was we shot that scene, like we shot the love scene the first day. After we had hung out for a while. And she always said to me like why did we shoot that scene first? And I was like, because it needed to be awkward, but because it was like the first time, and it's early on in their relationship, and if we would have shot it later on, we would have been too comfortable with each other, and you would have been able to tell. Like, it needed to be like this awkwardness, because even though we were shooting stuff out of order, that's literally the first time they are official. I mean, they've been hanging out and stuff like that, but nothing has really happened up until that. And so that's the first time they were really official. So all that stuff, that first kiss and all that, and then that scene and some other stuff, shot it all the first day.
So, okay, so when you're going, let's go, to that first day, and you're like directing, you're like, okay, so now, tell me about that. Okay, so first off, female crew. I said, Jeremy Applebaum was our director of photography. And I had told Jeremy specifically, I said, I want to have male and female crew, but specifically for the comfort of her, for Jenny, I want to make sure that we have, but everybody was so relaxed and everybody got along. This wasn't an issue, but you don't know when you're starting stuff out, right? Because if there's like 10 guys on the crew and you're filming a love scene, there's only one girl there. Yeah. Right.
Everyone's and from early Zeta experience, I learned that you can't have a bunch of guys on set. You have to have some female. You have to have some females on crew, because I had a guy that I had to throw out of a scene because a girl was in her underwear and Zeta, and he would not stop making comments about it. And I had to like basically go, get the hell out of here, and kicked him out, and that. But so we so yeah, I had girls there, and I made it very clear. I'm like, Jenny, you can always communicate if something's not comfortable or anything like that. I think we had the same situation when Elizabeth and I shot when we were doing a scene in Rideshare.
Yes.
And it was that thing where her and I said, you tell me what's okay and this and that, and I'm gonna go off your lead. And it was the same thing. She was like, I'm good. We're good.
She was totally cool.
I trust, I trust you and all this other stuff. And I'm
and
like,
we kept
cool.
it close knit. We didn't have any other crew that didn't.
It was very, and that was part of it too.
Yeah.
That was a very small group in there too, and that was the thing, was like a lot of this stuff, and especially in the intimate scenes, I want to keep it to as limited as possible in those situations, and so that's how you handle that. And so we shot the scene. There was an incident where at one, like, she ended up switching bras because her first bra, whenever she tried to take off her top, it got caught, and there'd be some slippage, and I was like, you know what, that's deleted. Those files are gone. We took them out. They're gone. Showed it to her, and like, they're good. This isn't floating around anywhere. There you go. We strategically shot it so, it's PG-13, whatever.
Yeah, right.
And because there were pasties and things like that, and there were other ways we were ready to go, but when we got down to it, we're like, you don't need that. Like, we're fooling around. It's all good. It all works out. So.
Well, and again, I think that's what this movie's strength was, is that you kept it PG-13, and you didn't have to go there. You didn't make it really raunchy. There's a couple kind of innuendos, but it's like you could have easily gone. It could have been really raunchy. You could have been cussing every 2 seconds, and it didn't need. I personally don't think it needed that.
I've seen that too many times, and that was what I was going to say was, I've seen plenty of movies where the guy is making out with the lead, and he's the guy that made the movie, and you're just like, this is gross. And I never wanted it to ever be like this.
Neil Breen, we won't say, and we won't say names, like Neil Breen. Have you seen Neil Breen? No. He's like in his 60s, and he has like, and then he has, a 25-year-old lead, and then he's naked, and half of the, it's like, oh my God, it's so cringe. Yeah, and that was the thing, was like I remember, like, specifically, and it's good that we're talking about this, because I think that's the thing that people don't focus on, is this stuff, and the comfort and all the stuff that goes on in this, and how it's not easy for me too. It's uneasy for, I had to go get a pedicure the morning before. Like in the morning, I had to get a pedicure because I'm like, well, my feet are gonna be out because I'm gonna have bare feet if I'm doing this or whatever, like stuff like that. Like it's like, and and I had to put on like tattoo coverage and stuff like that, and all this other stuff. Oh wow!
And well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
I saw that comment. Yes. So, but yeah, it was this whole idea of like, we sat down, we had coffee. It was gonna be like a 30-minute meeting. It ended up being like 3 hours of us just talking and having conversation and stuff, coming up with ideas, a couple rewrites before the thing, because I had originally written stuff for another girl, and so I was like, if you don't like this or we don't like this, rewrote stuff. Last minute changes on things. It was a very easy crew to work with. Jenny, in my opinion, is Jenny is Anna Faris. Like, I feel like Jenny is very much Anna Faris, and I think she gets underused in a lot of stuff, and I'm like, whatever, you can always be Jeannie in anything I do for these movies, because I think she's great. And so, there's been other projects I've been asking her to be a part of too, like other things where I play myself, but then we do like BRADMAN, the movies in the universe, but it's like an over the top version of that, like sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But like, there's just a lot of things, and I think she's great to work with, and there's a lot of people that I worked with on this project that I would work with on other projects. There's people that I worked with that I wouldn't work with again. That's just any general thing. But it was a good learning curve on, like, here are people, like Jeremy constantly is like messaging me like, I'm available for BRADMAN 2 when you want to do BRADMAN 2. And I'm like,
which one's Jeremy? Is that the DP?
He was the DP.
Oh, okay.
And he was
cool. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and he was great. And Just had a lot of great support with a bunch of different people, and there are a lot of people that understand that their characters, because I would make it clear, like, if we did a sequel, your character would be in the sequel because it would make sense to have you in the sequel and this person in the sequel. So a lot of people knew that. So I think that's where the commitment was. So and everybody was just very loyal. It took forever to get stuff finalized, but in reality it didn't, because we shot the movie in 2001 and it came out 2021.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep losing a 20 in there too. I don't know what that is. So we shot the movie in 2021 in June of 2021, and we had a premiere for it in last October, but then I couldn't do anything else with it because of the music rights, because I couldn't put it out anywhere.
Wow,
so I put it out now.
This story is sounding really similar to another movie that I.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And it's just this thing where I finally put it out. I put it out on Film Hub. Film Hub's taken forever to release it, and then Storyfire was like, "Can we put it on Storyfire?" And I was like, "Yes, we can put it on. Why not? It covers all the rules. I can't, like, part of the music rights is I can't charge for the movie, so I can't sell the movie." Yeah, that's part of the funky music. Funky, like, Warner Brothers made a bunch of rules.
Wow.
And I thought, I thought to myself, funky music's going to be the easiest song to get, and it was like, that was what was also taking forever, because that was like, I was waiting forever for the rights for that. Because it isn't like a 30-day thing. It's like 4 months you're waiting for somebody to get back to you.
Oh yeah, and they're waiting to they're waiting to hear back from other people. Then there's people. Then they're doing everything. Yeah.
And so it was to the point where I shot that scene with funky music in it, with the understanding of, if we don't have funky music, then I don't know what we're gonna do. Because by the time it was done and funky music was getting back to me on stuff, Warner Bros. Was getting back to me and stuff. I was like, if I don't have this movie, then if I don't have this in the song, then I'd have to reshoot the scene, and there's no physical way to reshoot this scene, like, because you'd have to rebuild the set and do all that stuff that we had to do. So so it was sort of my fault, and I was like, I'll take whatever price you give me, because like my hands are tied at this point. So,
So okay, so going into the funding of this, and we can go into as much detail or not, how was that? Did you raise money from personal investors? Did you self-fund it? What was that? What was that?
I did a lot of self-funding for the production. A lot of people got paid from my bonus checks. A lot of the actors got paid through my bonus checks that I got from work, because they would give us so much every couple months. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to set that money aside. It's extra money. I'm going to specifically plan on that for that. I had people that are people that invested in it, that, I've got some people that are invested in it, that when the movie does generate some sort of income, they get money back on that deal.
Okay.
I've got people that are just like, I will do it in exchange for a credit, a producer credit of some sort. I had times where I'd be like, I have robot cowboys and I need 6 of these light up cowboy hats. They cost this much money. And this is a lot of my Facebook for a long time, was like, if you buy this, I will give you a credit in the movie, a special thanks in the movie.
Wow, interesting.
Boom. And then I'd be like, I need a stripper pole for one scene. And then and I'm like, and here's how much it costs. And somebody's like, here you go. I'll pay for the stripper pole. That's me. I'm that person. Or I did things where Marsha's a good example. I said, Marsha, I go, I want to put somebody's picture on the back wall of the bar that says, do not accept checks from this person. If somebody gives me like $50 or whatever, like, I don't know what it was, like some price or whatever, I will put your picture on the back of the bar for this scene. Or I will name a hospital after. Like, I had people I'd never talked to since high school, because one of my high school friends posted it in our alumni page, that I'm not even a part of the alumni page. And
wow.
I had people from high school reach out to me and say, like, I can't name names because of whatever. Everybody wants to be anonymous. But I had people out in high school like, here's $1,000. Like, here you go. And they'd be like, I want to contribute. I'd be like, great. Here's my Zelle or my Venmo. and then all of a sudden they'd send me $1,000. I'd be like,
Wow.
wow, I wasn't a fan of that. I haven't talked to you forever. And they were like, I'm just glad you're doing good. Glad you're making movies because that's something you did in high school. And then I'd be like, well, do you want to name the hospital after you? And they'd even be like, no, just give it a different, like, name it something like this and stuff like that. So there were a lot of things where there are billboards. There's advertising up on the walls some places. There's a hair product that I'm using in one scene. There's a shirt I'm wearing in one scene. There's different things that I'm doing that I just basically said, it's product placement. Do you want to get paid for? Like, here you go. And it was a thing like, if you give me this much, I'll mention your product or whatever. If you give me this much, I'll make sure its product like is on me or it's part. I interact with it during the thing. And if you give me this much, I'll focus the scene around it as long as it makes sense in the movie.
Wow.
Yeah. and people were all about that. So I've been doing that for years. So making money on doing stuff like that, and like especially like from being a live streamer and having to make money back in the day for being a live streamer. A lot of that stuff. It's just like I learned a lot of that fundraising throughout my life, and it just kind of worked into play for this. So, but I've also had an amazing. I've had an amazing group of people. There's a producer, Cirque Gaines, is somebody who's been a major part of the process, and Cirque Gaines is a fake name. Maybe it's a group of people, you never know, but that's somebody who's like, I want to be involved in all your stuff, and I'm investing in you, and I want to be a part of all this stuff. And I'm like, yes, that's the deal. I've dodged some bullets from people that I dodged.
Yeah. Well, I've had some people that say, hey, I want to give you X amount, but can you put my niece in the movie? And it's like, and then their niece is like horrible at acting, where it's
right.
You have to almost deny the money or else, right?
I had somebody early on who was like, I will give you, we have a DP camera department, and we will DP your project for free, but you have to give me a role. And I'd already cast everybody, and I said, well, I have a reporter role. And she's like, yeah, you need to give me more lines then. And I'm like, that doesn't work with the movie. And then there was a bunch of other stuff that she said, and I was just like, I feel like I've said too much. Then anybody who's watching this from Chicago would know what I was talking about. But it's like this thing where I go, I'm not interested. You have to learn that early on. It is your project, and you only should work with people that want to be a part of the project for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. And I feel like everybody who's involved in this project is involved for the right reasons. And like I said, there were times where I had some desperate moments where I was trying to get the funding for the music and stuff like that, and I had a way to go, and I was just like, this doesn't feel right. I don't want to work with this individual. This person's weird. And then fortunately, Cirque comes around, and then I have somebody to work with. So it all works out. So it all ended up working together nicely. But I'll tell you, well, you already know this, but I'll tell anybody who's ever want to do films, and if you want to fund with people, there are people out there that want to see you succeed, and those are the people that you want to work with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So going back to because I know the the struggle, what would you say was your biggest challenge going through this? And was there ever a part where you were discouraged at any point where oh my gosh, how can I even get this done? Does it seem like, such like a mountain to climb, because you're essentially climbing a mountain, you're bringing a bunch of people with you, and hoping that you complete it, right?
It was, it took me a while to edit the movie. I kind of had an emotional thing after the movie was done, and I had some stuff happen, and I had an uncle die and some other things happen, and I kind of hit a downturn on stuff. So it took me a while for the movie to get edited, and then you run into situations where you get one or two people from the cast talking well, how's this person, why aren't they finishing the movie? Is the movie ever going to get done? Or whatever like that. And then I started doing some side projects. And then people are like, why is he focusing on these side projects? And I'm like, these side projects pay for the movie. I have to do this thing to pay for the movie. I have to continue doing my podcast and generate advertising from my podcast to pay for the movie and stuff like that. But I stuck with my word. I said, here's when, like, everybody was deferred payment. Everybody got paid when they were supposed to get paid. So I've never had any issue with that. Those who didn't get paid on time worked with me on it. I negotiated. But everybody was cool. Everybody understood what was going on. So, and that's the thing. Is like, the nice thing about it was I worked with a lot of people that are indie filmmakers, and they got it. They were on the same page as me, and they know what's going on. So, a lot of people are like, we're good. A lot of people are like, you know what? Wait till the movie comes out, and we'll take care of it afterwards. Because it's not like, that's the situation. It's just everybody's good at that stuff. So.
That's great. That
and you avoid
too.
SAG. You just don't even bother with unions, because unions are the worst. And I'm sorry, guys, but the SAG is not there for you. SAG is there for themselves, and that should. And I said that, and F you, SAG. There we go.
Wow, you heard it here first, guys. You heard it here first. Well, like that was a question that I would not ask. It's like, oh, so how's the strike affected you? It's like, shut up. I don't know. People ask me that question.
Yeah, and that's sorry. I realize this lights like a
no.
glare. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. There it is.
Sorry, everybody. I looked heavenly for a minute on the video. So, and that was the thing, is like, I was laying low, but I was writing and working on other projects during the writer's strike and stuff, because I'm not in the union. So, but at the same time, I'm not going to get on Twitter and be like, hey guys, I wrote this new show and then I'm going to pitch. But the thing was, like, if you go to like Stage 32 and all these other places, they were still taking pitches, even though the unions were supposedly closed or whatever, or the union was on strike.
Those pitches, that's like when you pay them a bunch of money to pitch your movie. Is that what that is? Or there's like a lot of those companies.
It's not a lot of money. It's like $35.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
There's some places that they take like $8,000 or something, and they're
I would never go that way, because those are the places that are buying it and then they're going to steal it. They've got something in the game. But I've only pitched one thing that I paid for at Stage 32. But they have like a writer's room sort of thing, and they have assignments in the writer's room. And so you can they'll be like, we're looking for a rom-com or something like that. We're looking for this, we're looking for that. And boy, everybody
Steve's funny.
Everybody's like, what did the other person say?
Oh, he's joking around. Steve,
okay,
Mr. Anderson. He says I'm a big union activist.
Oh, okay.
I'm out on the picket lines every day.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, making sure you're getting yourself on Instagram. That should be the key. If people were very serious about picketing, then why are they pausing every moment to pose with a sign on and
I remember when other strikes were happening. Well, I won't even go down this path, but I would literally see like influencer types show up to these like protests and like take a picture. They go out, they pose, they'd have a camera, have a photographer there, take a picture, and then leave. And it's like, man, it's so fake.
Like the girl with the drill, when she was drilling up the thing after the riot happened or whatever, and then people called her out and said, yeah, she wasn't really there. Here's what happened. And they showed the actual video. Stuff like that. It's just people are just very, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah.
Enough of that.
That's another thing. Yeah. So the movie's been out for a week, by the way. So if you guys hadn't heard, BRADMAN the movie is out already. It's on Storyfire. You can watch it in the link in the description below. And you're allowed to take tips for it. You can take tips.
Yeah, that was kind of another loophole in the whole thing. Is like, I can't charge anything for it, but on a regular, like the way the music rights works, if it's like a subscription-based service, then if like Amazon pays you a percentage for people watching it, you can get that money, and that's how that works. That's why it's on Film Hub.
So you'll be able to have film. Yeah. So
Film Hub, I can still generate income. Great. I just can't be like, this movie's $3.99, pay me $3.99. Sort of thing. But the nice thing about Storyfire is, they do have like a crypto tip system, and then you can whatever. Or if you watch the movie and you're like, that movie was great, what's your Cash App? I'll be like, okay, go ahead. Send it on over. There you go. But So, but I mean, the thing was, I put it on Storyfire because Storyfire had just rebooted their platform, and it's still got some major cleanup because they were just talking the other day, like they featured all these people that aren't even there anymore, are on the top of the page, and they're going through and they're refeaturing people, and they actually listed me as like one of the new content creators. They're like, you're going to be one of the main, oh, not one of the main, but you're going to be featured on Storyfire now. And I was like, that's great, because I got other projects like ghost hunting and stuff like that I've got coming up too. So but they've been very good about promoting out BRADMAN the movie. I really put it out there because, like I said, Film Hub was taking forever, and a lot of people just wanted to see it. And a lot of the people that were in it just wanted to see it again. And because after the premiere, I had made some changes on some things, and there were no credits at the premiere and stuff like that. And so I said, here you go. Here's the finished movie now, and it's all done, and it's got the right music in it and all that other stuff, and you can enjoy it. And people have been happy with it. Somebody said to me, are you okay with putting on Storyfire because isn't that going to lower the numbers? And I'm like, no. Storyfire has 2 million users on it, okay? And Netflix has whatever, and Amazon has whatever. And all these, well, not that it's going to be on Netflix, but Tubi and these other places. And the people that are on Storyfire aren't necessarily the same people that are on Tubi and at these other places. There's a lot of people in the world, and a lot of people can see it. And if I saw a movie on Storyfire and then a month later I saw it on Tubi, there you go. My only thing that is hurting me is that there are some interesting movies on Tubi, and I'm very frustrated that BRADMAN hasn't popped up on there yet, because there are some interesting movies on Tubi. There's TikTok. I don't know if you've seen it. There's TikTok channels dedicated to the weird stuff that happens in Tubi movies, where they're holding this black couple's holding their new baby, and it's a white doll and stuff like that. It's really bad. It's so people getting shot, and somebody got hit with a broom.
One. It was I saw one. Well, I have a connection, like a filmmaker, a friend of a friend that I talked to on the phone. He made a movie called he made a movie about the PPP loans. It's called PPP Loan Gone.
Yeah.
And it's this 2.5 hour long movie about these people that lost a PPP
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Is it a documentary, or is it just a movie?
No, it's a movie. And
I remember when I was looking at BRADMAN, and it's finishing up BRADMAN, and it said 2 hours 45 minutes, and I was like, oh my god, how is this movie 2 hours and 45 minutes? And then I realized there was a bunch of space and then a tiny file at the end. And I took it out, and then it went down to an hour 58, and I go, oh good, and then I'll put the credits on there. But it's a very I just said I can't make this movie that long.
Yeah, no. I was gonna say I was actually impressed that you made it 2 hours. I mean, that pretty much is a superhero movie length. That's kind of
right.
The standard superhero movie length is around 2 hours. I think that's the sweet spot.
And so I'm going to ask you this: I've seen it, and I'm not biased on this. I've seen it numerous times. I've seen it a lot because I edited it
too many times. Yeah. Well, if you haven't seen it too many times, then you're not.
But
enough. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I've seen it millions of times. But I sat there when I went on Storyfire and watched the whole thing all the way through, like it was the first time I'd ever seen it, because I felt like it flows good. And that's my question for you. Did you feel like it flowed good? Oh, he lost his microphone. So I'm going to talk for Tremaine right now, yes, I think it was great. I think it was fantastic. It was the best thing I ever seen in my entire life. No, he's got what is he doing over there? What's he doing? Are you switching mics or just muting to mute? I think he's gassy, and he hit the mute.
Toast.
There he is.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
StreamYards does that for some reason. So, I don't know. Anyway,
yes, I've had that happen.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think it flowed really well, especially at the beginning and especially the end. I think there was a little bit in the middle that kind of dragged a little bit. But, after that, there was one scene I didn't really get. It kind of came out of nowhere. Without kind of giving it too much away, but you'll know what I mean. The Blue Jay scene. But I thought it was hilarious because it kind of came out of nowhere. And then you're getting this mentor lecture. And it's I thought it was kind of funny.
Okay, so I will tell you this much about in the original movie. In the original movie, he's kind of lost, and it's less about mentoring and more about it's more about understanding the relationship and seeing the relationship from somebody who's been in the relationship for a while, sort of perspective on it. And so what had happened was, it kind of just in the original movie, the bus driver dies. It's a bus driver, and he dies. And there was going to be a scene that was going to be a funeral scene where he goes to where BRADMAN goes to the funeral and talks to the wife or whatever, and gets it like she understands, and then she kind of explains stuff. And he's not any of the Blue Jay stuff or any of that other stuff. I kind of just added that to add to it. But what I did was he's alive in this version, whatever. I'm not spoiling too much by saying that. That scene there. But the other thing that happened was, in that process, stuff's going on with Jeannie and Two-Step Telly and those people. And in reality, in the 1998 version, there was no cell phone situation. So in this version, it was easier to be like, oh, I'm on my way home. I'm going to text her on my way home. And then when she doesn't answer, then I'm like, oh, no, something's wrong. And then I figure it out right away, and I figure out something's wrong. This is sort of that thing where it kind of like, I don't know, I used it as a sort of a way to keep him away from the situation. But also to show that in the original version, it just happens as an accident. And in this version, it's more of a Disco Inferno during type thing. It's it's part of the distraction to get things to happen. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's just, I get it though. But I do like her. Jean was a good. Jean, the woman that played Phyllis, was very good. I loved her in that, and I also just like that scene because I wrote it and it was very heartfelt. And have you ever written a scene and then forgot you wrote a scene, and then
Sean's a truck driver, by the way. Sean's a truck driver.
Yeah. So but have you ever written a scene and then forgot you written a scene, and then you thought to yourself, man, I wish I would have put this in the scene, and then you read it and you're like, oh, that's in there. I did put that in there. But then the other thing is, you write a scene and then you're like, oh, and then she's reading it during the audition and you're like, oh my God, that's a really good scene. That's a really well written scene. And then you're like, oh wait, I wrote that scene. So do I have an like the scene chokes me up? That scene would choke me up, and that's why I picked her, because when she read it, choked me up. But at the same time, I was like, oh, that scene really chokes me up. But then I'm like, wait a minute, I wrote that scene. Why would it choke me up? Because I wrote it. But it was different coming from her.
Writing is definitely it is kind of at least for me, it's kind of a form of a therapeutic thing, and it's kind of a fun thing, and you can kind of put some of these emotions in there, some of your real emotions you can put into the script, and then when you see it, especially, and you see it come to life, being acted in front of your very own eyes, I'm sure that's a surreal experience, right. and so for you, I guess, you talk about the ego, and something where you write a movie essentially where you're a regular guy and you turn into a superhero, and these girls love you, and you got this ex-girlfriend who's so in love with you, she becomes a supervillain, right?
Yes.
So like, how do you, I felt like it was, you have enough ego to make that movie, you know what I mean? Because if you didn't have any ego, you wouldn't have made it, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have been able to complete it, but you have enough, you have your feet on the ground enough to know, what the movie is, and you're kind of like, you're as a I like how it was a hopeful story, because your character's almost too hard on yourself, or the regular version of Bradley, right? And everybody's like, oh, if you're a loser because you're wannabe comic or / doing ride share, and and you're like, well, wait a second, I'm not not a loser, you're a winner too, and there's without giving too much away, there's a great kind of redemption. I don't know. It's something where like everyone a lot of people struggle with like self-confidence, and I definitely do.
Yeah, and I think part of the deal was, remember, I wrote this originally when I was in college, so I didn't really change a lot of that thing, but a lot of the joke that played off was when I was in college, and I think in just regular life, and this, I don't know how to make this not sound like an ego thing, but I do better than I think I'm doing, and I think that's the thing. Like in college especially, like I would, like I'd always, like it even nowadays, whenever I'm like, I do deal with depression a lot. I do have a lot of depression stuff, and I'm always like, God, I'm such a loser, or I'm such a failure, and stuff like that. And then it takes like my mom or somebody to be like, didn't you like tour with Collective Soul, and like didn't you walk on fire once, or didn't you weren't you on Dr. Phil a couple of it takes her to remind.
Were you on Dr. Phil a couple times?
Yeah, I was on Dr. Phil. You know,
did you firewalk with Tony Robbins? Is that what you did, or
no? I firewalked before Tony Robbins was around, but then I got invited to firewalk with Tony Robbins the other day in Dallas, and I was like, can I do that again? Like I was like, I was like, could I handle doing that again? Because I've done it once, and I thought I already have the confidence to do it again. But I was like, is it going to do me any good? Because it's how much. Maybe I needed a reboost on my confidence. But I did get an invite to go firewalking with Tony Robbins, and that's it. That's the example. I'm saying it's like stuff happens. And I'm so oblivious with like trying to go one way that I don't pay attention to the stuff that's right there in front of me. And that's sort of what the movie's about. It's like you're so convinced that you're going to do everything wrong that you don't pay attention to the things that are going right. And so like, yeah, he's a superhero and he has superpowers. But when you see like a movie like Iron Man and you see these other movies, they're all very confident. They're all middle-aged men that are very confident and don't have any problems or any issues, stuff like that. And I'm like, no, let's put some emotion in there. Let's put some like mental health in there and say like, this is a guy who does struggle with mental health issues and does struggle with lack of sex drive and all of this other stuff. and let's boost off of that stuff. Did I exaggerate things? Yeah, of course I exaggerate things. But at the same time, I'm like demonstrating like, he doesn't, but I'm also legitimately that way with a lot of things. Like, I don't want to bring people into my life if I don't have my own life figured out and stuff like that. And sort of a lesson on that too is like, everybody's so eager to think like, oh, a girlfriend will fix the problem or this will fix the problem. No, the problem's still there. You just have to fix the problem. Mm-hmm. And so that's where it is with the movie that's where I think it's coming from in the movie is that that was my heavy analyst of the movie. But it is a redemption story. But there is still, like, even if you see, like, even if a sequel comes out and stuff like that, there is still underlying things that happen that, you know, life happens and things happen. And you've just got to be like, it's not all fairy tale stuff, so.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of separates this because, I mean, is it fair to say, well, it's almost like, it's almost a superhero parody movie and on the surface, right? It's a superhero parody movie, which is hilarious, comedy, but it has heart, which is what I didn't really expect as much to have all this heart. I thought it'd be pretty much straight comedy, but that's what I really liked about it. And that's what I liked about it. And I love the mockery of, you're wearing a Superman shirt. And like everyone's probably like my biggest gripe with Superman is that like, oh, he's wearing glasses and now he's not wearing glasses. Who is that? Who could that be? Clark Kent, and you had like the different colored wig, and they're like, who could he be? Which I thought was hilarious. I mean, it's so funny. And the hair was great. So
we got really good at, because I shaved my head for it, and we got really good at like pulling off one wig to make it and then cutting at the right moment so it looked like we were pulling off, like you would start to pull off one wig and then we would cut the scene and then it'd come the rest of the way off, so then it looked, I think it did a good job looking like my regular hair. There were a couple moments where I'm like, whatever, but the white hair looks like my regular hair, and I think the white hair looked really good to the point where I've worn the white wig out for other things just to wear it because it matches, it goes in good with my beard. So I like wear it out to stuff. Like I went to when I wear my Santa outfit, I put on that hat for like my wig for my Santa outfit, and I like it. So, anyways, love that wig.
It was cool. It was funny. It was really, really funny.
And the original movie was inspired by the Brady Bunch movie.
What? Really?
In a way, because I always thought, because somebody just said real world superhero, I always thought, what if you had Batman type, like 60s sitcom Batman type villains, and but in like the sitcom, in like this Batman series in the 60s, the entire city was camp, and it was all just whatever, and everything was over the top. And even like Batman, like the Tim Burton Batmans, like everything was over the top and everything was super gothic. And I always thought, like in the Brady Bunch movie, the best part of the Brady Bunch movie was like, or the Beverly Hillbillies, was like the Beverly Hillbillies and the Brady Bunch were still the Brady Bunch, but then everybody else was in like the 90s in the right time era. And so I always thought that was funny. And so I thought, what if it was like you had the supervillains were just over the top with their ideas on how to be supervillains, and BRADMAN was over the top on how to be a superhero and whatever like that, but everybody else is just regular people. And but then I switched it around, and I don't know if and people can watch this, but I switched it around that Two-Step Telly is a very Batman type superhero, and Daisy's more of like a dark, like an actual. I mean, if going off of like hypothetically, if people died in this movie, who did all the killing? And there's only one person that did all the killing. So if you think of it, so like one's very just like campy. Like, I'm doing this because I'm getting revenge on this situation. The other person's just like, yeah, she's got a weird motive, but she's also psychotic, and she's actually very crazy and very over the top. But it's very, I don't know how to explain it, but I wanted to make them very weird villains, but at the same time, they're everybody else in the world's normal.
Right. And I think that's what it has going for it, because it is a superhero movie. It is over the top. But it has that grounded base in reality, where you have it. And I think with a lot of it, I like that it knows what it is. Like a lot of movies, especially a lot of independent films, try to be too much. They try to put the wool over the audience's eyes to make them think that it's a bigger movie than it was. When it obviously it is, what it is. So I liked a lot of that with. Because there's green screen, there's a lot of effects, and there's a lot of, campiness, but it works. It all works because it's in that whole, universe. So, but
yeah, it's very weird because there are some times where there's just things I couldn't do effect wise that I had to like make work, or whatever. And I never had anybody go, "Oh, that movie sucked because the effects were bad." They just they let it slide because they were able to see past that and just go into like. Yeah.
Right. That's what I love about movies is that it's like it's not like everything is all real world and all of a sudden there's a random green screen and you're trying to make it tell everyone that it's this Marvel movie, or something like I don't know, something like that. Which even Marvel movies, some of their green screen looks terrible, but they're trying to make people think that it's like that it's so great.
And in reality, we only use green screen for like a couple random things that there was no way you can get a giant jukebox in her like certain things and
like the jail with the like the prison, and then you had like kind of the sheets over the top or something.
Yeah, that was just that was like that was actually we weren't even trying there because it was like the idea that it was a makeshift prison. That was that because when it came in, it was like, this is a warehouse scene. I'm like, it's all perfect. Like, this is what it would be like. Like, these people found this warehouse and they moved some stuff around and they put some bars here and made this thing and they did this over here and there's some boxes over here. Let's just leave all the junk where it is and we'll make it work. And like some guy was shooting a music video and he goes, is it okay if I keep this pile of TVs in here because I'm shooting a music video and I can't get the TVs out till Sunday and I know you're shooting on Saturday? And I was like, oh, I'm going to incorporate those into the movie. And I did. I incorporated this giant pile of TVs into the movie, rewrote the scene. So it was just very, So
I was going to ask, okay, so when you were filming and getting locations and all that stuff, and did you film in a green screen studio for part of it? And then what were your other locations like?
There wasn't ever really a green scene studio. There was a place called Indie DB Studios, which is an indie place that's in Chicago, like outside of Chicago. And it's actually called Film Diner now. They just rebranded themselves as Film Diner, and they're trying to branch off across the country, and they really work good with independent film people. So we shot there. My job let me shoot. We talked to the people that were that owned the complex that my office was on, and I said, if I put you in the credits, can we use the office at night or whatever? Because then I could just I could use our office, but they had like a bridge in the back, and like there's the whole park scene and stuff like that is all shot in the back of this office area. And we were in the middle of, I had a studio that I had built for the office, and that was where the strip club scene was shot. We just like moved stuff around, shot everything at night, so we weren't in the way, and then just did that. And so there's a lot of stuff in the parking lot, a lot of different things, and a lot of these different scenes that from different points all took place in the same place. There was a scene we shot outdoors, and part of it was that in one place, and then somebody yelled at us, and so we had to change locations, even though it was all part of the studio. It was very weird. We shot not necessarily anything guerrilla style, but we just saw some stuff along the side of the road that we needed to for like certain scenes, because it worked out. It was like a newscasting scene that we shot there. And then somebody reached out to us and said, would you like to use, we have a bowling alley, could you use it for anything? And so that's what we made the Flannel Club. We used this bowling alley as the Flannel Club, and thanked them for that. And then we used we built, I don't know if you know this, and if I tell you guys this and you watch this movie later, you'll be like, there you go. The comedy club and the convenience store are the same set.
Oh wow.
The bar from the comedy club is the counter from the convenience store. Oh. And there was a back area of this film place where we filmed, and I said, you know, if we put the counter back here and we just put up the signs, because I'd already made fake signs for the convenience store and stuff like that, and we put some shelves up, and then there's a thing with the soda cans or whatever, that stuff like that. But I was just like, you know, if we just we have wire shelves already here, and we just throw this food that's there for crafty services up as the food and put some stuff around. And we did that, and then I said, all we need to do is get white pegboard and put it on one wall, and then it'll look like a convenience store. And everybody's like, what? And they did. And I said, there's a hand sink back there, but the hand sink can be back there because it's a convenience store. And then we shot the exterior shot someplace else. And then we shot the front door of the convenience store at the studio, and we just put a vinyl sign on it, the convenience store name. But like I said, somebody had walls that they have used for something else, and I said, can I use these walls? And we use them for the comedy club. And then we just brought in tables and chairs. We put the bar up. We had bar stools along the bar, and then we just shot it strategically, and you couldn't really tell that it was where it was. And then I just put up the brick wall that we already had, and the guy that runs IndieDB, that runs film down now, he has vinyl. He can make vinyl signs and stuff like that, vinyl stickers and things like that. So that was great. I'd be like, I need this. I need a Flannel Club thing. I remember when we shot the bar, we couldn't avoid the Bud Light sign on the pool table, and I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna ask Bud Light if we can just keep it up. And so I tweeted at them. I said, here's a screenshot. I was going to digitally take it out. I don't want to do that. They sent me over paperwork, and I signed it. And
no way. Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah. You just have to ask. You just have to ask. And
nice.
I'm not necessarily a fan of Bud Light.
You guys.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan of Bud Light anymore. But at the same time, and that was another thing, was originally there's a V8 joke, and I won't go into that. But in the original script, the can looked like V8. In the original
that was
movie,
hilarious, by the way.
It was V8, and then I changed it to do the whole I-13 thing because it worked better for stuff later on. And I had reached out to Campbell Soup and said, I want to make this into, I want to use the can, and they said no. So I said, oh, okay, never mind. Then I'll just still make it V8, but I'll switch the can around, and then you can't get mad at me for putting the letters V and 8 together and making a joke, and then slightly changing the terminology of should have had just a tiny enough bit that you're not breaking any rules. But I don't know why they would say no though. That was very weird to me because I thought, wouldn't you want people to try to drink V8, whatever? But the nice thing about 2021 when we wrote it was, everybody has energy drinks now. So I was like, let's switch the can over to an energy drink size can, and then that makes it work because there's always a new energy drink coming out every week. And so, because that was the other thing, was like in the original movie, the V8 ends up in a soda machine at the college. He pulls it out, it's a V8, and he's like, oh, that's weird. And he's like, well, maybe I'll be healthy, whatever, and it's a big deal. He wouldn't go out to a convenience store and be like, oh, V8, I'll grab that instead of anything else. And he goes, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to grab that. And then she's like, whatever, take it because it doesn't, whatever. And so, like, there's like things like that you have to think in that, like, is this realistic? Does this make sense? And that was a lot of it with the new one, with the rewrite, was stuff had to make sense. Mm-hmm. And there was always things in the original that didn't make sense that I had to like go, okay, well, if this was the case, I don't know, I would have changed this around. I wish I could have changed it around. And then I would change stuff around because there were things that like needed to make more sense.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple great takeaways there. If ask and you shall receive, or or not, you never know, right? Like Campbell's maybe said no, but Bud Light said yes. So that's pretty cool. Joe,
that was the other thing. That was the other thing I was going to tell you. That was another thing. Was like, I said, hey guys, I need to have some sort of energy drink, and my friend Jason Kimbrough was like, can you make it K-Brew or whatever and put my face on it? And I was like, yes. So I just made up a bunch of vinyl stickers with his face on them, and that was the original soda that was up there, and that the guy was saying, because I could have used Monster, I could have used stuff like that, and I had reached out to Bang, I had reached out to Monster at the time. They both never got back to me, and I said, I'll just make my own energy drink.
Yeah, well, and there you go. Yeah,
and I got funding for it, so.
Well, oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, what was the question?
I do agree, Joe. Bang should sponsor Hayhoe Studios. I drink a lot of Bang, although they're harder to find these days. Joe wants to hear, what cameras did you use? What cameras did you use?
That's the one thing I never am good at, is the cameras, because I just do everything else. Blackmagic. I think it was a Red Epic Blackmagic. Is that right?
Red Epic is different. Epic.
Oh no. Okay.
I think it was Blackmagic or Ursa, because you had Blackmagic at the end.
Yes, it was Blackmagic, because I remember I had to download a Blackmagic thing to actually convert the files and stuff like that. By the way, there's a lot of free resources out there for LUTs that you can just get for free. And what had happened was, for anybody who's doing film, like when you shoot with these cameras, they don't have any color, whatever. You have to go you have to go put a file on there to make the color work for color correction. And so I found before we even started shooting, I found a thing that was like LUTs from like Avengers and all these other movies. And so I went through and like said, I want to make the color scheme match these. Like, I specifically took different movies for different scenes to make, like, so whenever I was with Jeannie, whenever it was like a love scene, we used a specific movie LUTs for that thing, and whenever it was an action scene, we used a specific thing for that, and then whenever it was a night scene, there was one that made it look bluer and look better and look sharper, and so I guess we'd always use that. So, but those are always good to find, and those are always like, I don't know if it's free or if I pay like $10 for like 100 of these LUTs, whatever.
Right.
But,
oh yeah. And there you go, drag and drop. Yeah, that Blackmagic has a lot of leeway when it comes to color grading.
Right.
Right.
I don't remember what the camera was though. It was hold on. I know it was a Blackmagic, and it looked like this.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Is that a Pocket? I think that's the 4K.
Oh yeah, it was Pocket. a 4K Pocket 4K.
Yeah. Pocket
yes,
Pocket.
thank you.
Boom.
Boy, I could never, because then he said, oh, these are pretty cheap, and they are pretty cheap, and I go, maybe I should get one of those at some point in the future, and I still think I should, but yeah, Pocket 4K.
Yes. yes, Sean. Bang and Hayhoe, like it. It's a natural partner. LOL. I agree, Sean. I agree. So
also, I want to point out that, see, you can be a filmmaker and have no idea what cameras are being used.
Yes!
And that's why you get a director of photography to do that stuff. You can look at a shot and be like, this shot looks good, and you can totally understand framing and all that other stuff without knowing anything about cameras. So there you go.
So, which by the way, and also I have a little bit of a gift for you that I will send you, Bradman, and because I put together a film school called 48-Hour Film School. So basically the premise is within 2 days, anyone can learn how to make a movie within 2 days. Right, so it's a video course, and I mean, you probably know most of everything, but maybe you could learn something, or at least give me some feedback as well.
Okay.
But I'll send that to you, guys. So that's the whole premise. So that you don't, even if you don't know anything about cameras, you could still make a movie. You could still, but obviously editing, post production. I think did you do a lot of the After Effects type
I
stuff?
did when I was writing. No, I did everything. So when I was writing it, I would say, okay, you know what? I think I want this to happen. I would go on to Google and I would Google After Effects this effect. Like I want to do this where, or this is happening or that's happening, and then and I would find it, and then I found resources like what's that thing? It's like Big Film or something like that. There's a company that makes alpha files of like. You can get like files of like fire getting thrown or buildings getting toppled over or bridges collapsing and all this other stuff, and you can put it all together and you can overlay it on top of things and change the color to make it match up or whatever. And so a lot of that stuff I would use too. So there's a lot of that. I'm a big fan of Motion Array. Is a good company to get to sign up for a membership for. Motion Array is $250 for a year. And it's basically you get access to all the music and everything, like all the music and all. And you don't even have to credit people. I still credited them at the end of the movie anyways.
Yeah, which, by the way, I was impressed. There was like a laundry list of songs you used. And
yeah. So, and I wanted to make sure those looked as legit and legal as possible. I didn't have to do that for them because of the way they work, but I did it anyways.
Part of the licensing, yeah.
Yeah, and I downloaded all the files, and when I put them off to Film Hub and all stuff, and here's all the paperwork for all the different songs and everything I use so that you have them. So
see, part of that, guys, is it's kind of the non-sexy part of filmmaking is making sure, especially all the songs, even if it's royalty free, they want to know what songs are used. So when a company like Film Hub is bringing to their distributors, they can actually prove that you just didn't throw in some random song and didn't have the rights to it. So that's a big mistake that a lot of first time filmmakers make, is they just think they could just throw on, they would throw on Play That Funky Music, White Boy, but without actually getting the credit, and then Film Hub gets in trouble for that. But they would say, hey, QC would come back and say like, hey, you need to prove the fact that you have the rights to this music, right. And then you won't, or else you'll get denied. So make sure you guys are doing it legit. Joe said, would love to see Bradley reprise his role in Rideshare. Thumbs up. I've been an Uber driver for 8 years, and he really captured the dark side of that job.
Very easy. Very well written. Very easy. It was very easy.
Dude, I love how the pinky thing became a thing.
Yep.
That was funny. Any comment on that? Any other comment on that?
Well, I thought there's a sequel coming out, isn't there?
Yeah.
Isn't there like a Rideshare? Isn't there Rideshare 2.0? How does somebody who watches your show not know that there's a Rideshare 2.0? Have you not said there's a Rideshare 2.0?
I think he might be playing dumb or something. I don't know. Joe definitely knows. knows.
Let me tell you a story, guys. Tremaine announced it, and then I was like, huh. That jackass didn't even call me and ask me if I wanted to do it. And then I realized he had the wrong number. And so he had texted me and thought I was just ignoring him or whatever like that. And I was like, oh no, you don't have the right number, dude. Let me give you the right number.
Well, now that, ever since BRADMAN, the movie's been out, this guy's just been, it's hard to reach. People call his people.
Yeah, a lot of that.
No, we're definitely going to be, hopefully we can have some more answers about that in the coming year, but
right.
Yeah, obviously you cannot replace this man and just call it and just pretend like it's or recast you as a black woman or something.
Yeah.
You didn't just act like nothing happened.
Jasana?
Yeah.
What's up, Jasana?
Yeah, that'd be horrible. But no, I just watched the South Park Into the Pandaverse, which was pretty.
Oh
funny.
my gosh!
Oh my
Right,
God,
they're
was
right
so
on.
funny.
That was right on.
That was so funny. Yeah. But anyway, back to Bradman the movie, because it's all about Bradman the movie here. What would you say? What type of advice would you say? Would you give a filmmaker if they want to make a movie? They want to, either they want to act, like star in a movie, or they want to act, or they just want to be behind the camera. What's kind of the key that you use to go from start to finish? If you were to tell yourself before you made the movie, what type of advice would you give?
The only person that can stop you from doing anything you want to do is yourself. Like, nobody can really stop you from doing, like, well, the law can, depending on, if you want to rob a bank, then yeah. Well, I mean, even then, you can probably still do it, but at some point you're going to get caught. But unless you're smart, you don't get caught. Then once again, you are the only person that can stop yourself, because you let yourself get caught. But, the thing is this. If you want to do something, do it. If somebody is talking you down, and I've said this about I've been a live streamer for a very long time. I've done content creation for a lot of times. I don't make content and then be like, oh, this is something hot right now. This is a fun trend. I'm going to make videos because this is a fun trend. No, I make stuff I want to make, and then the people that come into my room or my live stream or watch my videos that like that are the people that I want to make. I made the video for people that enjoy that type of content. I made Bradman the movie for people that like Bradman the movie. And I'm very happy with how many people have liked Bradman the movie, so I'm very happy with that. But, I mean, there's always stuff, like I'm working on, like I said, I mentioned ghost hunting, that I'm going to work on ghost hunting content. And that's another thing where I said, I want to do this. I've watched a lot of these videos about ghost hunting. I'm not doing it because ghost hunting is a hot topic. I'm doing it because I don't like how they do certain things, and I want to do it differently, and I want to do it a little bit more respectful than some of these kids that go out and do the ghost hunting. And so I said, that's what I want to do. I want to do it with like a more of a historical, like a background of what the people involved are and all that other stuff. And a lot of those shows, is a lot of everything like that, is a lot of the stuff I do is like, I want to make this because I had this experience doing this, then I want to make it differently. Or I want to do this differently, I want to do that differently. So
Right. Put your own twist on it. And I bet in Chicago there's plenty of places that are, haunted places or ghost hunting places or like a
But I'm in Texas.
You're in Texas? Wait, what?
I'm in Texas. I thought you knew that.
No, I didn't know this.
I've been in Texas forever, buddy. I've been in Texas since February. What are you talking about, boy?
What?
Yes, but I'm still in Central Time, so that's probably why you didn't get confused.
But Chicago's Eastern Time, isn't it?
No, Chicago's Central Time.
Okay.
I'm in Texas.
Okay. This is what part of Texas can you say? Are you like?
I'm in Dallas.
You're in
Fort
Dallas?
Worth. What? Well, I'm in Dallas Fort Worth area. Like, it's an area. There's like a bunch.
Oh, it's an area. Okay.
There's a bunch of stuff.
What brought you out there?
I personally just have lived in a lot of different states. I lived in New York City. I lived in Los Angeles. Lived in Chicago. Lived in Minneapolis. Originally from Iowa, and I just wanted to try something a little less blue.
Okay.
yeah. And so there you go. So I'll leave it at that. But it's been incredible. It's a whole, like, when I first got down here, I still dragged the negative energy of what was going on in Chicago and stuff like that with me. But then it kind of cleared up, and it's been a great place.
Wow. So,
yeah.
Okay, so what has been the response so far? So, it has at least 1,200 people have seen it already, which is pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
1,200
last I checked.
And that's another thing is, like, for me, I think that's really impressive for the fact that I only have, like, I literally signed up for that Storyfire a long time ago and then never went on there. And then I came back when I was tweeting out about Bradman. They reached out to me. I have like 43 subscribers. And so part of me is like, why don't I have more subscribers now if all these people are watching? But a lot of it is like people who are sharing the movie that were in the movie and stuff like that. So it's not just because you don't really have to sign up to watch the movie on Storyfire. But it's I think that I feel like the response is very good for being like Storyfire is not like a YouTube or like a whatever. It's not like a very well known app, and I think it's helping them, and they appreciate it. So I think the response has been great. I get to talk to you. That was a good response. I get to come on your show and talk. So, and I think, and I'm always doing things like we were out for brunch yesterday, and the waitress, I said, hey, go watch this movie. Here's the link. And I gave her the link at the thing, and I said, watch the movie. And then she messaged me afterwards and said she watched it. So there you go.
I
wasn't just trying to get the girl's Instagram. I was trying to actually.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But isn't that great when you send someone a movie, they say they're going to watch it, and then they actually watch it? And then
yes,
like, isn't that amazing? Like,
yes, I'm going to be honest. When I sent it to you, I was like, well, I'll see it in like a year. He'll see it probably. You saw it right away. You saw it right away, and I appreciate that. And that was the thing, was like there was a lot of people where and I'll tell you something. My brother asked me where the movie was for like a month, and I sent him this link, and I was like, have you watched it yet? Because I feel like I would have gotten a response. Because my brother's a huge fan of rideshare.
Oh,
and my niece and nephews are huge fans of rideshare too. And I'm just like, where you at? Like, I'm waiting to hear back from him on this thing, and I don't think they've watched it yet. I don't think they've had time because he's been working so much. Because a lot of it are people saying, yeah, I want to watch it, but I want to watch it with my kids, or I want to watch it with my family, so I haven't watched it yet. And I'm like, I get it. It's only been out a week. Like, it feels like it's been out forever.
Yeah.
But it really, like, somebody just said, that's not bad for a week. And I go, oh, yeah, it's only been out a week. Because I put it out on Friday night, or I put it out on Sunday night last week. Like, randomly, I said, I'm going to put it out. I kept saying, will I do it? Well, I won't do it. And then I just said, you know what? I'm going to put it out. And then it just went from there. And it's been trending on Storyfire ever since. So,
wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great. Well, that is the thing about releasing your creation into the wild. Like, how is that feeling? Is it kind of like are you relieved that it's out there now? Are you?
Yes, I am relieved it's out there. I'm still frustrated with Story Hub or Film Hub because they're taking forever, and I make that clear because I always get these messages from people saying, we're in the middle of a class action lawsuit with Film Hub. Would you like to join us? And I'm like, nope. Let me calm down.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. But then I email them and go, hey, Film Hub, these people reached out to me about a class action lawsuit. I'm just letting you know I said no because I have faith that you will fix this situation and this movie will actually show up somewhere. Yeah. So I'm gonna check right now. I mean, it's supposed to be on. It's like it's been licensed to, like, I don't know what the name of the thing is. FMC on Fire TV and FMC's like.
There's a lot of streaming apps that you get access to, and I don't really know what rideshare's on Future today. I just learned.
And I guess I just need to
what that even is. But.
Right. I guess I just need to be more patient because I'm sure it just really does take forever, and I'm just thinking it was going to be because like, I'm from the world where I used to just like dump stuff on Amazon and be done with it, and then it would be up on Amazon, and then Amazon changed their process, and they would only let me dump it on Amazon if I charged money for it, and
that's a tough thing, because I was like. I came with that realization with when rideshare came out, and I did the whole I'm so mad, but I learned so much. But I did the whole Vimeo thing, right? Which I was like, oh, I did a Vimeo, so people pay to play, right? And we made like $300 in a day, which is nice. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's immediate friends and family that watch it, and then and then I went to Amazon Prime, and like the latest Transformers movie went straight to Prime, and I'm like. Okay, is my little movie as popular or as big as a Transformers movie that goes straight to Prime where people don't have to pay to watch it, they can just stream it and have fun? And the answer is no, obviously, right? So
right.
And we had we had Pirates was the biggest thing too. So when I don't know I think we might have talked about this, like within a day it was rideshare was trending next to Jumanji, second trending on the biggest pirate app or site or whatever. It was number 2.
Okay.
It was number 2 behind The Rock and Jumanji.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Listen, I thought
cool,
about it,
but we didn't get like paid or streaming from it. You
right.
know what I mean?
And part of me has said like, maybe I could just throw it out on Footlocker and just put it out there on my own. And I thought about throwing it on a pirating platform myself, just for Bradman, not for Rideshare, like for Bradman. Like I said, yeah, just throw it out there because for me, it's more about if I can get people to watch it and then they're like, oh, I want a Bradman shirt. Okay, here, buy a Bradman shirt or buy this. There's there's a little bit more merchandising behind Bradman than there's Rideshare. You can't. Even though you guys didn't like my Halloween costume idea that I had years ago, where I said,
no, I love that costume idea. I don't know how to do that. Do you know how to do that? Like,
no, I didn't know. No, I thought it'd be fun.
It's like I want to do that. Like it would be such an honor for people to like. That's when you kind of know when you made it. It's like people dress up as like Jason for Halloween.
Yeah,
you know, like that would be.
Exactly.
I want to do that. So anyone out there knows how to do that. Give us.
I think you just get on social media and do it. Like say, hey, get on social media and do it, and hopefully in a year from now, people will be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna dress up like Bradman for Halloween. I'm like, yes. One person does it, you feel like you've accomplished something. So.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, awesome. Okay, I'm trying to think of anything else that anything while you guys are here, like to ask Bradman, and we'll keep it going. It's been a great conversation. I'm sure you got other things to do though, but yeah, we'll hang on for another 5-10 minutes, something like that. Does that sound good? Yes. Yes.
Is there a way to take a restroom break?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Here.
I'll be right back after this.
Yeah. Be right back after this. Okay, so we will let Bradman take a little potty break because hey, nature calls, and when nature calls, you have to answer, and if you don't answer, nature will answer for you, and that will not be beautiful. Oh wow! So Sean, I dress as Leatherface. Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, you'd make a great Leatherface because you're what 6'5", 6'6". You got the long hair. Oh, that'd be awesome to see. Sean, by the way, where are you these days? Where are you today? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? Sean Trucking with BS is a trucker. He's a great friend of the show, great friend of Hayhoe Studios, amazing supporter, and he's also owns his own truck company. So he is going to 6'5". So he's always anytime I talk to him, he's shipping some kind of cool goods going from A to B, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles across our beautiful country. Enoch Arden says, a great interview. Bradley sounds like another awesome fellow filmmaker. Yeah, he is. That's the beauty about it. A lot of my friends, I call it the Rideshare alumni, a little bit. As he comes back.
I'm back.
He's
I
back,
needed that,
baby.
sorry.
He's back. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm glad. Anytime you could have messaged me. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Sorry. I could have sent you a message too. I could be like, I gotta pee. I'm gonna cut out real quick.
Right. Yeah. Oh wow. So Sean is trucking. He's in North Carolina. He has a load of egg waffles going to Virginia. All right.
Eggo waffles?
Eggo waffles. Oh, okay. So Lego my Eggo. He always has something. He either has meat he's carrying, or
I just learned how to make Eggos in the air fryer.
Wow. So you just put it in the air fryer?
Yeah.
Wow.
I figured out the perfect temperature to make them is what I'm saying. It's like I figured out how to toast them.
Oh. Yeah. Dude, I love the air fryer. Air fryer is incredible. Incredible stuff. So Joe was saying a great, awesome fellow filmmaker. See, I call it, but you've been making movies for years, but I call it, as of late, it's been kind of really interesting and pretty cool to see. I call it the kind of Rideshare alumni. Like a lot of people that have been the alumni of the Rideshare movie are making their own movies. Like Elizabeth made her own movie. She's working on another 2 or 3 or something like that. Curtis and his wife have made a couple movies since on their own. And then of course you're making the movies too. So it's been kind of cool seeing the Rideshare family grow. Madeline Wade has made her own couple movies as well. I went to one of her premieres. So it's been pretty cool. to see. Oh my gosh, Sean, that's quite the. When you have your own company, you get to haul all sorts of things,
Right.
But it's been cool to see, and so you have talks of the sequel. Are you? What are your plans for that? I like that you're already thinking ahead, and that you're thinking about the next one, and you're not, resting on your laurels already. But
right. It's very top secret, but there is time travel.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it's very top secret, but it's very Like I'll put it this way: I have 3 movies. I have 2 more movies ready to go. Like I have it. Like I've always planned this out as a trilogy, and the 3rd movie is the final movie, and I won't go any farther than that on movies. Because once it's done, it's done. Yeah. But I would. Yeah, I honestly feel like it's if this gets as well, like I think it's been very well received on Storyfire, and I think if it gets out on mainstream and other people are watching it, I think it's gonna be very well received to these different places. The people that I want to be in the sequels or want to be in the sequels. If I have to change people around, I have to change people around. That's just how it works. It times out perfectly because of the time period and whatever. Like that, it's also motivation of like I'm not getting any younger, so if I want to get these next 2 movies done, I got to get them done in a reasonable amount of time, and and I there's a process right now where Fort Worth is actually building a thing that's supposed to rival the Georgia studio.
Really interesting.
Yes. And so being down here, that was a weird coincidence. I moved down here to move down here. I decided on Dallas-Fort Worth because I got a bunch of signs to move to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And then after I got here, it was like, oh yeah, and they're also putting in a giant, beautiful looking studio with like offices and co-working space and all this other stuff. And so like I literally have an office in the studio if I wanted to. If I get on board early enough. And I think people just don't know it exists. And I'm like, I'm on it and I want to be a part of it. And yeah, I totally want to use stuff, and there's always the opportunity that somebody who is, I have a tendency to have friends and Facebook friends and people who I know in real life that as along the way I've picked up a lot of like celebrity type friends of sorts and things like that where I was definitely trying to get people to be cameos in the movie. There's like a Verklempt like superhero parody thing of Batman that I have, and I had originally I've been trying really hard to get Nick Swartzen to do it and be like, come in and do this thing and you can do it where you're at because you can shoot it anywhere. I was like, you can shoot this thing anywhere. It's literally like a throwaway scene, but it's important for the movie. But at the same time, it's like, and I reached out to several different people and I was like, would you like to do this and would you like to do this? And by the end I just said, okay, well, have it this way. But there are plenty of people that are like, I want to be involved. Like Dennis Hurley, I consider Dennis Hurley to be pretty well known. He's been on Superstore. He's been on a bunch of other shows, and he was in that Justin Timberlake video. He plays the professor in the movie.
Oh, okay. Oh, in the beginning.
In the beginning.
Yeah, he was great.
So,
he's awesome.
Yeah. So I thought he'd be good, and I specifically brought him in for that scene. I had another person lined up to play his partner, and then. Man, I want to tell you who it was because it's a popular YouTuber, and I want to tell you, but I can't. But anyways, I had this girl. I'll tell you.
The DMs somewhere. Yeah.
I won't tell. I won't.
I won't say anything.
No. You have to just wonder for the rest of your life.
Oh.
But I'll put it this way. I had a person who is a very well-known YouTuber.
Is it a Rideshare alumni?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
And she was going to play the professor's Kyla, the assistant, and I think
I know who it is. I'm not going to say it, but I think I have a guess. I don't know.
No guess. No guess.
I'm not going to guess.
Yes.
Blair White.
No.
No? Okay.
No, that would have been. Oh my God, Blair White would have been great. Are you kidding me? I didn't think of asking Blair White.
You should get her.
I've got a character Blair White could play in the future. Okay. Anyway, so But Blair White would be professional, actually show up. That's the thing. But so what happened was, I had booked this person. The studio was in Arlington, in Illinois. I think it's in Arlington Heights or something like that. I forgot. It's been so long since I lived there that I forgot what everything was called. And so I was going to, so I put them in a hotel next to the studio because I'm going to be the one busting them around, getting them around. And they're like, well, we want to hang out with people. I'm like, cool, come in early. That's fine. Dennis stayed with me. He's my friend. So he's just going to sleep on my couch. We're going to drink and hang out and have a good time. Nice. And then we'll shoot the scenes. And so I book her in the hotel, and she goes, this is like 40 minutes away from Chicago. And I go, well, yeah. Because
that's where we're filming.
We're in a suburb or whatever. And I go, I'm not putting you in a hotel so you can hang out with your friends in Chicago. I'm putting you in a hotel so you can film this movie. And she got all weird with me, and I said, you know what? This is a sign that I don't want you to be in the movie. And I just canceled her ticket. And I said, and I cast the girl that played her like 2 days before that it had to come on. Like I was like reaching out for people and trying to find somebody to play the part. And I was just like, whatever, we're going to find somebody to do it but Dennis had rehearsed with this other person the whole time, and they were ready to go. And I just said, I don't need this. Like, don't be my friend and then complain about something stupid like where I put you in the hotel room or whatever like that. And then get mad. I cancel her. I move on to somebody else. And then she's messaging me like, you know what? I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, too late. Sorry. I'm
so they messaged you back saying, hey, they kind of like saying they would want to do it.
Yeah.
They changed their tone. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, it was the same with Zeta. Like with Zeta, when Zeta first came out, it was very offensive and nobody wanted to be in it because it was very offensive. And then after I put out the first season, then people were like, oh, can I be in it? Can you give me a part? I'm like, oh yeah, now you guys want to be in it, because when I reached out to you originally to be in it, nobody wanted to be in it because they were like, it doesn't fit my reputation. It doesn't fit my persona on YouTube. I don't want to be a part of it. And I'm like, that's me. Anyways.
Yep. Enoch Cardick says, tough part of filmmaking is dealing with the flakes. Commitment is tough for some people.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
And I mean, I had flakes filming and stuff like that too, and you're always going to get flakes and whatever like that. And my hardest part for me is I remember somebody dropped glass during one of the days we were shooting. Somebody dropped a bunch of glass, and when in LA, like, safety is a big issue, and so I was yelling. I was like, guys, don't break glass. Like, I'm like, that's a safety issue. If somebody gets cut, then we're screwed and stuff like that. And then somebody came up and said, you don't yell at the crew like that. And I'm like, yeah, you don't yell at the crew like that in Chicago, maybe, but I'm like, that's a normal thing for me. I'm sorry. That's a normal situation. If you you're getting paid to do stuff right, and you're not getting paid to like drop a bunch of glass on the ground and take another 15 minutes and laugh about the glass on the ground and not clean it up and stuff like that. So,
one thing is like if they drop, because mistakes happen, accidents happen.
Yeah.
One thing is like if you drop it and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me clean this up right away. Another thing is be like, oh, haha. Some people, it's so interesting. Like some people think that they can come in and, just party or just hang out, or they want to hang out, or they make a mistake and just laugh it off, and that's really a challenge.
I had a background person who I realized disappeared during the scene. I'd had a contract with him, and it's because I yelled at somebody, and I think this person whatever and left, and I go, huh. So out of spite, I just kept him in the movie and gave him the credit, and because I'm like, you signed the contract and you're a background, you weren't getting paid anything, you're just getting whatever. So here, you're still in the movie. Take that. That's my revenge. Haha.
Wow.
You're still in the movie because you signed off on being in the movie. So
see, it's interesting because my version of revenge would be to take them out of the movie, I guess. But then if it would be a pain in the ass to take him out, then Well, and that was the other thing was like I had somebody that was complaining about something. It was just a crew person that had been complaining about something, and I was like, okay, well, I don't care. Like they got on social media and complained about something, and I said, oh wow,
I'm sorry that you had a bad experience. I think it's because they got paid late or whatever like that. They got paid. It wasn't a big deal. They got paid late. It was whatever. So they were uh, complaining about it, and I said, you know what? I don't care if you're mad at me. Totally get that. But when you get on there and you bash the movie, all you're doing is messing it up for everybody else who was in the movie. Because if you're bashing the movie, you're not hurting me, because there's still gonna be plenty of people that watch the movie. You're hurting everybody who's all these people that you worked with and you're friends with that were in the movie. That you're basically saying, hey, everybody, it wasn't worth it for anybody to be in it because of whatever. And
they're kind of making themselves look bad because
right, and that's the thing. I said, if you want to do this in like a large acting group, a Chicago-based group, then all I'm seeing, like, it's, and I see this all the time. Whenever I see somebody complaining about somebody else in a acting or a filmmaking Facebook group, I usually am like, well, that's tacky. I don't want. I will never work with that person.
Want to work with them. There's someone. I won't name a name, but there's someone in Sacramento who's always posting about, like, complaining about, like, it's just always just complaining posts, just all complaining posts, you know. And it's just like, okay, well, I don't. Yeah, that's someone I don't want to work with, and you know, or like I put up a gig. There was another example. I put up a gig because we were looking for more scare actors for this corn maze, because we were scare acting in a corn maze. We made this Bigfoot movie, and we had Bigfoot in the corn maze and stuff. And I just put a post out, like, you know, looking for more scare actors, people that want to come out and have fun scare acting. You know, it's a group of like 6,000 people, and then someone comments, usually, and then they go like, usually posts that have proper compensation for the actors are ones that get the notice. I'm like, okay, like, go away.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? You know, we're talking about, like, you know, if you're an actor or if you want to have fun scare acting, like, have fun, you know. And I was reaching out for the people. I wasn't, you know, hiring anyone. But anyway, it was just like people like that. I just know attitude is everything. You know, I always say like, hey, I'd rather have, instead of having someone that's super talented that has an ego but is a jackass and jerk to everyone and is complaining on set every day, you know.
That was me in Red Shirt.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
No, you.
But a lot of that was emotional. Like, when you take on that character, I'm being very serious. Like, it was very dark to get into the Jason mode, and it just really. It took me a while to get out of the Jason mode after I was in the Jason mode. I don't know if you realized that or not, but I'm being clear. Like, I realized. Like,
I realized it.
Yeah, I realized, like, I was really into the Jason role, and I became very just, like, angry all the time. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then after a while, you get out of it, and you're like, oh, I'm back to normal. I feel great.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, there were times where I think you were, I guess I would say you were being overly difficult, I would say. But it wasn't something that we couldn't get past. And there's stuff where, like, you know, it definitely on set where there's any type of tension, or, you know, or someone says something and then you're like, you know, oh, well, you know, I don't know. But we just had to get it done. So for me, I'm just like, there's no, sometimes I say, there's, in my latest movie, Simp, I kind of just blurted out something, and I kind of regret saying it because we were filming it, and my friend Todd, he's cool with me because I was kind of referring. He delivered a line. I'm like, oh, that was terrible. All right, let's just do that again. And the other actor is like, dude, that's like not cool to say that. And like for me, I'm just objectively thinking about a performance, and if I say it's terrible, that doesn't mean you're terrible. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person. It was a terrible take. I know you could do a lot better. Let's do it again. But I kind of learned there's, you know, certain actors, you can say certain things. Other actors are maybe a little bit more sensitive. And then also I asked, because the lead male in this one, it's also a pretty dark character too. And I was getting some pushback from him. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, does taking on a character like this influence your personality at all or anything? And he's like, 100%. Yes, it does. Yeah. You know, because it is something. And then for me to write it, actually writing Ride Shirt 2, initially I was like, oh, I'm like, it is. I'm putting myself back in this kind of a darker spot, because to write something like that, it has, you know, you have to kind of be in that spot, and I have to almost like take it in stride and not spend you know, months at a time with this one thing, because even though that might make a lot more sense to like stay in that zone, you kind of go in the zone for a little bit, then come out, be like, okay, no, I could be normal, be nice, and be, you know. So I definitely don't think that you were terrible at times. Yeah, you were great. I mean, overall, like you know, it was all good on Rideshare, right? Was it all good? Yes.
Right. Yeah. It was all good on Rideshare. Yes, it was.
But I will tell you. I guess I'll tell you a secret. I will tell you a secret that I haven't told you. I'm not sure if you knew this, but there were times that I would direct you, and I don't know if you even want to know this. Do you want to know this or?
All right, here we go. What's this?
Well,
what's this gonna be, guys?
It's not.
I'm
gonna
hang up.
Yeah.
I got my hand on the leave studio button.
Okay. Right? No.
Okay.
Well, there were times where like I would direct you to do something, and for whatever reason you would not do it, or you would do the opposite or something.
Okay.
And so Jesse said, "Hey, just tell me what you want him to do." And so I started doing that. So I would tell Jesse to tell you what he wanted to do, and you would do it perfectly if Jesse told you. But if it was me, you might do it, you might not do it. So I think that was just like one of the days, one or two of the days.
Yeah. There was a couple days where it just it was difficult. No, I totally get that. So,
but for me as a director, you know, maybe I was difficult too. I you know, and I'm sorry if I was.
It's okay. It's all good now. Look, that's me. I'm over. Like, that's for me. Like I said, it's like I do a project and then I'm done with the project, and then I go, okay, you know, next time I won't be a total dick when I do the project. So but it is. It's a lot of learning, and I think that was. I mean, would you say you've done a lot of stuff, but was Rideshare your first film?
Oh yeah.
See, so there's a lot of green going on there that you are probably you do things differently now. So
yeah, totally. And but I think, you know, every spot, I think everyone kind of knew, even if I was, you know, there wasn't really a time I'm trying to think if there's any time I yelled. I don't think. But are you popping bubbles or something?
Yeah, but most of my frustration, and you've gotten over it, and you like it was like early on. There was some times when it was shot guerrilla style, and there was some paranoia because my vehicle was involved, and the whole idea of getting caught without certain things or breaking the law when filming is that they confiscate all the props, including my car would have been part of like the takeaway. Yeah. And so there were times when it was like, oh yeah, we're outside of Burger King and it's like 2 a.m. and, you know, somebody decides they're going to rewire the speaker or whatever so that it doesn't turn off. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of, you know, but fairly noted, there was a time where we were surrounded by the police. So there was
and that's the thing, and totally, and I totally get that, and I appreciate the fact that because we all kind of put our necks in the line, but you especially, because it was your car, I think that was, and then for me, being in the trunk of the car. Which, by the way, guys, we all had permits and everything was totally 100% safe at all times, right? No, but like we definitely took risks, and doing that again, you know, no, it'll be for two. This it'll be completely different.
Definitely,
you know, but
it influenced the way I did stuff. So it influences the way that I did stuff in the future because of the stuff that. That stressed me out during Rideshare. So I was like, I don't want to stress somebody else out, but also I'm in it, so that in BRADMAN, so I'm like, okay, I don't want to stress myself out or whatever like that. But yeah, so I totally get that stuff.
Yeah, so going back to BRADMAN. So was there a time
back to BRADMAN?
Back to BRADMAN. Yeah, back to BRADMAN. No, but this is like such a unique experience, I think, because who else has a director and an actor on there, and the actor is now the director for his own movie? Who else does this? Nobody. Just us, you know. So, you know, I was there a time when where you had? Oh, I guess you expressed a time when you had an actress kind of be. You know, was there a time where you had an actor like drop, like a lead actor drop out or couldn't make it that day that you had to solve, or
I had a situation. I had a situation where we were scheduled pretty tight for one of the days because we had to do a lot of stuff at the comedy club, and we had one of the main characters was. Well, one of the main characters gave me her availability schedule and then said, "Oh no, I'm working that day." And I'm like, "Well, I scheduled it for you to work." And then I said, "Well, then right after work, so I'm like, "I'll reschedule it." And then they were like, "Where are you at?" I'm at your house. I'm like, "We're not shooting at my house today. We're shooting at 45 minutes away in the opposite direction or whatever like that." And then like I had to like pay for I was gonna pay for an Uber, but then one of the crew members, I was just like, I'm gonna give you gas money because it was gonna be like $200 for an Uber ride, and I was like, will you go get them? And then it was during rush hour, and then I was like, okay, well then will you pick up the pizza for the cast and the crew? I'll order that on the way. So I made stuff work, but then it was still other actors that were in that scene were frustrated more than I was, because I'm whatever. I've had to deal with that with Zeta and other stuff too, where people would just like flake out or not show up when they were supposed to or whatever like that. So, but that was the situation where, I mean, there was a situation where I wrote somebody out of a scene because I knew this person was unreliable. And so I had a scene where this person was in that I wrote them out of because I was like, nope, they're done. So, and so then, but I did that too, but it was really just, I look at people now and they've gotten better and stuff like that too. So then I'm like, oh, I can make it work. I can bring it back or do something like that. But it's just.
Well, at the same time, I mean,
yeah.
If you have a cast, you have a crew, you have people showing up from all over, and you have one person that's unreliable and they're a question mark, it's such a gamble to say, oh, well, they have big lines on this day. Can I rely on them because they flaked out 2 times in a row last time, or whatever the instance is. Right. Yeah. So it's hard for you as the filmmaker to.
And that's why with a lot of it early on, if somebody who was a major character would be like, flake out like on the first day or whatever, I'd turn around and say, you know what, I can replace you because we're only 2 days into this and I can just schedule. I don't care to pay extra to schedule to reshoot these 2 scenes over again with somebody else in this role because I can just put somebody else in this role because there's plenty of people that want a larger role that's in the movie now that would take a larger role. So I have no problem doing it if you need to do it. So, you want to be friends with everybody, but at the same time you're putting on a show and you know that you've got people that are depending on you to get stuff done and you have to be tough at times. I made Jenny cry. I made my co-star cry. I made Jenny cry one day that we were shooting and we had to basically take time, and that was my fault because I was frustrated about somebody else, this other individual who's going to be late, and she made a comment, I took it the wrong way, and and stuff like that happens, and then you get on, you move on. So, and I mean, I think everybody, the key of the whole thing is, and I tell people this, and I'll tell everybody this is, when you start directing, you have to early on just say, never take anything that I say personally. Yeah. Anything that I say when I'm directing you is me talking to you as a director. If I'm calling you stupid or something like that or doing anything like that, never take anything that I say to heart. And that's the case is that that works because people hear that and then later on they're like, no, we're fine. But then I get upset because, I made somebody cry and I didn't mean to make that person cry. And then that throws me off. I need to take my own into consideration and be like, people are crying now. It's just whatever. Deal with it.
You're right. Yeah. Well, you have to have that empathy as the director,
right.
And then also be stern, and then also try to keep your emotions in check because it is something where, someone flakes out and you're just pissed off about it, and you just want to I remember when the actor on Rideshare that was originally supposed to play Curtis flaked out, and I wanted to chuck my phone. I wanted to just I wanted to But you know, I'm like, you know what? Hey, the show must go on, right? The show must go on. We got to solve the problem, find someone else, and that's it. And you know, you have to roll with the punches.
Oh, wait, I want to address somebody in the comments. Actors are not cattle. Do not say that. Do not say actors again.
No.
Actors
Sorry.
No. I want to say actors are not cattle. Do not say that. I know you said LOL, and I know you're joking about it, but actors are important, and they're there to tell your story, especially if you're the writer director for the thing, and so you treat them with the utmost respect.
Well,
JK,
you know,
I know you're JK.
Hitchcock said, you know, he's like, oh, I've been quoted on this saying actors are cattle, and that is horrible. I would never say that, ever. He's like, what I really said was, actors should be treated like cattle. And he said that. And it's such a dry humor. He was joking, of course. Well, he's probably actually not joking, Hitchcock, in his story, because you know, you want to. I say a better way of putting it is that they're chess pieces, right? You know, you're playing a game, and everyone plays a role, you know, and you have to play the game and play your players that are there, and everyone. Some certain chess players are the king and others are the pawn, but that doesn't mean that anyone's more or less, you know, that important. You want to treat everyone fairly, and you want to treat them with respect and dignity. What would you say was your biggest takeaway? Hitchcock would get killed on Twitter. He would. He probably would have been canceled a million times by now. I'm surprised they didn't try to. Actually, they did try to cancel him already, but.
Oh yeah, because some woman he worked with would send out a text that he had sent her and be like,
yeah, right.
Oh, look what Hitchcock sent me. He sent me a picture of his penis.
No,
sorry, I know you love Hitchcock, but
I do.
Yes,
but no. Anyway, so what would you say was your biggest learning lesson from this whole experience, and what would you take away into the next one?
Well, I think my biggest learning experience from this was never settle. There were a couple times where we were rushing on things and some stuff got shot weird and I just let it slide and then had to go back in later on and try to fix it and clean it up and do something like that, which ended up spending more of my time. And so my biggest takeaway from this was I am the director, and if I think something isn't right, then I need to say something isn't right. Like if this scene needs to be reshot, or you need to stop worrying about people. Like if people are getting frustrated because you've been like everything's going on for a while, you just have to be like, you know what? I'm sorry this has been taking forever, but we got one more scene. I'm sorry that we were going to go 5 minutes over the time that we said we were going to go, but we got one more scene. We just got to get this stuff done and deal with it. And I promise you that in the end, it'll be worth it and it'll be something you're proud of. So,
dude, oh my gosh, dude, actors that complain about time, like, and I'm saying like if you're within the shooting day itself, you know, not that if you're 5 hours over, obviously, okay, you could say something then, but you know, but if an actor's like, you know, well, you said it was going to take an hour and it took 2 hours, like you lied, and like, dude, welcome to filmmaking, you know what I mean? Like, welcome to film set. Like sometimes,
you're either there for 4 hours or you're what is it? You're either there for 6 hours or you're there for 10 hours or whatever, 12 hours. Like you're either full time and like sometimes you're gonna get going more early. Sometimes you're gonna be there the full 12 hours, and other times I'd be like, we'd shoot till like 2 a.m. for a scene or 3 a.m, and I'd tell the crew, I'd be like, your call's not like it takes you 5 minutes to set up, so you sleep in for an hour, or I'd move the call. I'd move the entire call because I would always overschedule time so that we had buffers so if we were running behind on something, we could gap into another time thing or whatever. And that's the way to go. If it's a 10-minute scene, I'm still going to put like an hour and a half filming for that 10-minute scene. And then if we're done with that and we're moving on to the next scene, great, we're ahead of schedule. But then there's always
10-minute scene, you mean like 10 pages of dialogue typically? Or you mean like 10 minutes of...
Like if it's something that, if it's like you basically plan like... I would do 10 minutes a page is what I time out for like when I shoot stuff, and then after a certain point I go, if it's over but that's like if it was over 5 pages, then yeah, you're looking at 2 hours of shooting. So I mean,
wow, that's a lot of film. I mean, that's actually really impressive because most films do 2 pages a day or a page and a half in a day if they're lucky, right?
Yeah, and that's but that's because they're like shooting stuff that doesn't need to be shot. They're like doing all this stuff that doesn't need. I don't need to see 8 different angles of this person's face, for this scene. I need 2 good angles and 2 takes from each angle or 3 takes from each angle. As long as they're good. If we want to change a scene, like they improv something and it sounds better, let's redo it again. But in reality, and the other thing is, and Tremaine didn't really enforce this too much. But another thing is, we make sure everybody's got their lines memorized before they show up.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had a lot of lines in Rideshare, and so there's a lot of people like I'm just saying, like, I will take full responsibility for that. But there were times where I was like learning stuff and there were times when I mean, I'm the lead in this movie in BRADMAN, and there were times, and I wrote the script and I didn't remember scenes, and there were times where like while the camera crew was setting up, Jenny and I were sitting in my car running over lines and going over them a couple times, and able to get them done. But a lot of that stuff was, a lot of that stuff went a lot faster when the scenes were memorized. And so, but yeah, I did take that where like we shot 2 different night scenes. We shot 2 different night scenes we shot a night scene in reverse. The training sequence, because it starts at midnight, and then by the time we're done, it's morning. So we shot the training sequence backwards at night. So then the sun was up, the sun was just about down, and then it went the opposite way. So then it looked like, when it was done, it looked like it was dark, and then it got light. So that something like that.
Right.
So that's how we did that. We did that scene, like we shot the training thing was like it's all dark and then we went to light. So we had to shoot everything in reverse for that to make it work. But there was a lot of scenes that when you're indoors and stuff like that, there's a lot of scenes you can shoot at night during the day. But there were times where we're gonna spend 2 days at my apartment shooting all the apartment scenes, and Jenny has to go to a wedding. So, okay, then in that case, we're going to shoot all the BRADMAN and Jeannie stuff on this day. And when Jeannie falls asleep and it's just him hanging out, we're going to shoot all that stuff on the other day. And then on the other day when she's not there. And then we're going to say, okay, but there's not a lot of that stuff. That's great. Then we'll schedule for that night. We'll shoot the rideshare scene, the scene in the car. And we'll shoot that scene in the evening. And that was another one where I was like, in rideshare, we just had somebody sit in the front seat. So why don't we just do that? Because I was like, let's just do it that way and just get it done and just shoot it that way. And then that literally took no time to shoot that scene. Because I was like, this is easy. Just let's go around the block 3 times. So the lights look the same every time we do it, and then we'll just put the scenes together, and we'll do 2 takes with me driving and 2 takes pointing in the back, and then 2 takes from the hood from the trunk of the car, and then we're done. Boom, 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 and then that was it. And then we got it done. That took no time at all. I think the longest thing it took was the girl picking out which outfit she wanted for that scene. That was the longest part of that scene. So it really was.
That she wanted for the scene. Dang, I remember.
Yeah, she brought like 2 different outfits, and I was like, okay. What are you gonna say?
You didn't tell her, like, just do this one, because that saves so much time. If you say, oh no, this is the dress.
We were so far ahead on schedule in that time, and we got done really early on that time, and that was one of the nights was like, let's all hang out and drink afterwards, because most films are shot out of order.
Yeah, and it's pretty rare if it's shot in order. That's like pretty very rare.
And I didn't really have continuity, because there is a moment where Jenny's hair goes from curly to straight in one point, and I don't care. Like, nobody's really. People are looking at that,
and that's also the beauty of comedy too, is that you're able to kind of get away with it too. And even if it's inadvertent, it's kind of funny. If people notice it, it's hilarious too. Then they're paying attention to details.
Well, but then no. But I always say, if people are noticing that, then you've got a really boring movie on your hands if nobody's paying attention to you, like the plot. And so I've never had people go, oh yeah, this happened or whatever, because I noticed this was different or that was different. If you're seeing that stuff, then you've lost interest in the movie, I think, at that point.
Dude, remember. I remember when Reicher came out. There was the lady that plays the. She's a great, really nice lady. She played the nosy neighbor type in the hallway.
Yes. Yep.
She comes in. She's like, oh, what earrings should I wear? She rolled out. I've never seen something so big. She rolled out this huge, like, a smorgasbord of earrings. A smorgasbord. I've never seen so many earrings in my life. And she's like, which pair of earrings should I wear? And I looked at the first thing that I had. Like, do you think I have time to look at every single earring? No. I looked at the first pair of earrings. I pointed at them. I'm like, those ones. And I walked away. I didn't you didn't even question decisive.
Yeah, I've had people like that. Where they're like, what should I got this or this or this, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. Or somebody but also I had to deal with that when I was at theater, when I was teaching children's theater, where I had a girl go. I had a mom show up and say, we colored. I colored my daughter's hair blonde last night or whatever like that. It's like the second day of the movie, and she's the mouse, and so she's brown, and so she's been specifically gassed because she's got brown hair and the ears and everything matches her brown outfit. And then her mom goes, "Oh no, I colored her hair blonde last night," and so then she has blonde hair, and I go, "Are you joking right now? Like, are you being serious right now?" And then I had to we threw a wig on her. It was fine, whatever like that. But then the mom pulled her out of stuff afterwards. But the mom was going to pull her out that day because she was mad at me for saying, why did you do that with your daughter's hair? And I'm like, well, you're in a play. Specifically, you need to, stuff like that. Just plays, when people
common sense, some people that don't have any common sense.
And I had people that were like, I'm done with this. Can I shave my beard? Or I'm done with this. Can I want to color my hair? Or Jenny was like, I need to make my hair blonder or whatever like that. But stuff like that was like, yeah, no, that's fine. Cause it'll match. If it's too far off, then it's going to match then everything. As long as you're not going crazy and stuff like that. But yeah, there were people that are like, I'm going to get my hair cut, but just to the length it was when we first started and stuff like that. So it's all good. I mean, I shaved my head so I didn't have to deal with it. So
right. Yeah, exactly. We got Rideshare Rodeo in the building. What's up, Steve? How you doing? Good to see him. Happy belated birthday to me. Thank you so much. It was my birthday last Friday. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for the rodeo. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. Thank you for everyone who wished me happy birthday. Rideshare Rodeo says, he says, you look much less like a killer than in the movie.
Yes.
And
that's good.
That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. And actually, he looks even less like a killer in the movie BRADMAN, the movie, which he made the movie. So Brad Laberman wrote, directed, produced, and starred. Which I want to tell you something interesting, because everybody's like, BRADMAN the movie. I've got some ego jokes about naming the movie BRADMAN the movie, but I want to be clear. I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Okay. I literally started going by the nickname BRADMAN after BRADMAN the movie in college, and I made BRADMAN Media based off the idea that I had made this movie in college called BRADMAN the movie, and that's what started everything. So I was BRADMAN this that. My last name was originally Workman, and then when I started doing television and movies,
are you serious? Your real last name is Workman?
Was Workman. It was my last name was Workman when I was in college, and I went by Laberman as a joke in the movie because it was whatever. And then when I started doing television and stuff like that, and I had like old family members trying to get money from me, so I changed my stage name to Laberman.
Wow.
For that, and then I almost in BRADMAN the movie, I almost made his name Workman in the movie. But then I thought, no, I'll just stick with Laborman. But I'm like, I'm sorry, it looks like I'm egotistical that it's Bradman the movie and all this stuff. But in reality, Bradman is like from 1998, and all this stuff just happened later on. So that's the thing. So, and it's just, and nobody's really like said anything about it, but I just wanted to make that clear. Like, so.
Dude, Rideshare Rodeo, thank you so much, man. He got a $9.99 super chat and a $4.99 $5 super chat. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Dude, Rideshare Rodeo, you're the man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. You're awesome. Yeah,
Oh, you're on. You muted yourself again. He's got this. I don't know what the deal is. I just keep pushing the microphone button and then
toast. Okay, here we are. Dude, I think you might have set me over the $100 threshold. Rideshare Rodeo. It's been a few months since I had earned that YouTube paycheck, so I think with this latest 15, that means I'll be able to get a $100 paycheck from deal. YouTube in the next month or whenever it is. Next
3 months.
Next 3 months. Yeah. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, exactly. Well, because I was gonna ask you about that. So, being writer, director, producer, star. So you're not only having to produce the movie, but you're getting asked. I just know how it works. You're guaranteed you were getting asked a million questions a day. Everyone is asking you a million questions. And then you have to memorize your lines, and you have to think about, craft services or whatever. How did you do that?
I'm still bad at delegating, but I've gotten better at delegating. And I've got people that are like, I will help you with this, and I will do this for you, and I will do that for you. But a lot of it was pre-planning. A lot of it was, I want to thank you for this because I started using Studio Binder because you use Studio Binder. And if you really get into Studio Binder, they have a lot of features in there that really help you out with stuff. But also I had Katie Ramirez, who was amazing. Like this girl that said, I'm a fashion student and I would like to help with some sort of thing that you need fashion-wise. And I'm like, do you want to make all the costumes for the supervillains? And she's like, yes. And I think they all look amazing. I think she did amazing on supervillain costumes. And so Katie did a great job with that. And so she took care of that for me. She did my social media for a while on there as well. Then that was the thing I was like, I'm going to have somebody else do social media. Always make sure you have somebody do a BTS behind the scenes stuff that you can use later on. And, but what I would do is I would just be like, a lot of the times when we shot at my apartment, Jeremy actually bought Crafty for that, so we filled my fridge full of like meat and cheese and stuff like that. And so every time we shot over at my apartment, it was just like an open fridge policy that you could just, that was like craft services, like you could there's food on the counter and whatever like that, as long as it wasn't in the way. And then if you want to make yourself a sandwich or something like that, just get in the fridge. The food that's all in there is for us to do. I cooked them dinner when they'd come over. And they'd show up like 2 hours early, and I'd make them lunch, and then we'd have the day after that and shoot after that. In fact, the scene when we're eating dinner is the food that's left over from us doing lunch, and we just said we were going to shoot at the couch, and we thought it looks weird on the couch, and I'm like, what if we're having dinner and we're sitting at the table eating dinner, and we just shoot it at the dinner table, and we're eating and we're watching. I was like, it's all like there. And then I was like, and this would be better because when we did the fight scene, what if we incorporated the food that's on the table into the robot fights thing that happens that I won't tell anybody about. See, I'm just trying to spoil my own movie, but it's all this stuff, and that was it. A lot of the stuff just kind of fell right into place, and then, but. When we shot at different locations so that there was always you could always just have Crafty and stuff like that already there and ready to go. So that was the nice thing about I know my fire alarm is beeping. It just started doing it today. And Yeah, it's right there. I just have to take it off the wall. I just replaced and it's weird because I literally just replaced the battery, so that's very frustrating. So, and that's what makes it more frustrating.
Yeah.
I say I just replaced it, but it was probably like 5 months ago, and I think it was just
Right.
Yeah, you just have to delegate. You have to delegate a lot of stuff and be able to have people to do a lot of the different things. I didn't have a RV, but man, if I would have, I would have been.
Dude, that
RV,
solved so many problems. I
Yeah.
remember, like, because we were trying to shoot at my apartment, and then have people park in Hollywood. It was just not.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. Like those first few days were just a nightmare. And then, shout out to, Billy was like pretty much begging me, like, dude, and he like laid it out, like, dude, this will solve all of these problems.
Right. Yeah, and I agree.
And it did, and it really did. And once because that's the thing is like once I want to get that an RV. Oh my gosh, an RV would be great. It could be a production vehicle, and then also like having a set place for people to park is always a thing. So you were in Chicago, but you were in like the suburbs of Chicago. So how was parking? How was all that?
So the nice thing was the studio had a lot of parking, so that was fine. And we never had an issue because we either shot at the studio, we shot at my work office, which had huge parking space because it was COVID. Remember, we shot during COVID.
Oh,
wow. We shot right in that gap we shot right in that gap where we didn't have to wear a mask in Chicago.
Which, by the way, I'm so glad you didn't have masks on and stuff.
Yeah, well, no, we wouldn't have anyway.
Well, you had superhero masks, but but
we wouldn't have had like I saw an interview with Larry David. And people were talking about. Hold on, sorry, somebody's leaving something at my door.
While they're doing that, guys, smack the crap out of that like button, please. Slap a like on this. Make sure you support the channel. Make sure you check out BRADMAN's movie. The link is in the description below. It is on Storyfire. It is free to watch. You can also tip him in Bitcoin, which that's kind of an interesting thing. So you could do that. While you're doing that, and he is coming back, so thank you.
Sorry, I got a Walmart delivery, and usually they just leave it there, but he just insisted on knocking at the door. So,
well, hey, there you go. You got it. Awesome.
Oh, but so what was I saying before? We got it. It timed out perfectly during COVID because it was that time where we didn't have to have masks. I had like one or two people. Like everybody had been vaccinated.
That's good.
For the two normal vaccinations at that point or whatever, so everybody was good to go there. Or I just didn't notice that they weren't.
Yeah, right.
I didn't care. And then it was really just a matter of I think we only had one incident where somebody even brought it up at some point, and that was it.
All right.
And it wasn't even and it got diffused. I diffused it extremely quickly, and. I also might want to say that I had a really large conservative group of people with me, so it was a very interesting. It was a very interesting group of actors, considering that it was Chicago. So very interesting group of actors, in a good way. And then but there was plenty of parking everywhere. Like the bowling alley had a ton of parking, so we were fine there. But when we parked at my apartment, like. I also just scheduled the scenes that were in my apartment. I just knew what the parking would be like at my apartment. So I just literally was like, well, it's only like 2 people or 3 people over here. And I'll just make sure that like I'll park in front of my apartment. And then when Jeremy gets there with all the equipment, I'll move and he can have my spot. And then he's right there in the front and I'll park wherever the hell I want because who cares? Mm-hmm. Because I want to make sure that the crew was able to. Because Jeremy had a truck and he'd bring everything. He'd bring all the equipment.
For crew to.
So and then the crew would show up and unload everything, and then, and people just got very comfortable with my place and very like to the time where I had to yell at people about cleaning up after themselves and stuff like that because they were just stuff was all over the place, or they'd leave and there's trash everywhere. I was like, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing is like you always want to leave a place better. Just as either the same or better than it was when you found it, even if it is your own damn place and you're filming in your own apartment, like that.
And that was the thing. That was the thing that I never had a complaint from the people that ran the studio because people would we would pick up all the trash when we were done. We'd take the trash out because we'd have to take it out and away to like my dumpster at the apartment or whatever, because they didn't really have a dumpster for the week. And it was very much like a co-op studio situation. And there was, I never had anybody go, oh, you, and then there was one incident where I thought, well, I had a freak out moment because you had to pay to replace the key. Like, I thought somebody had locked the bathroom door, like locked themselves in and locked the key in the bathroom. And so I was freaking out. And then the next morning, somebody was in the group chat for the group, and they said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna bring that key over." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like, all night I'm like talking about this key, and nobody. And it wasn't one of my people. It was somebody who had been there earlier, a different volunteer who was working on something, and you know, and it was, that was the only time I really had an incident of something like that. But it was just really just. It's about respect. It's about respecting where you're at. It's about respecting where you, who you're working with, and because you want to work in a situation where people are gonna let you come back. You know, because especially like that's because my experience has always been TV series. So when you have when you're like Airbnb a place for a TV series, you want to make sure you treat it with respect, because you might have to come back the next season and shoot in that same location for the next season for that. So that was it. So it was the same thing. It was like, I want to make sure that everything's good so that we can use it again in the future.
And if it,
but I've already talked to people and said, I've already talked to Jeremy, people like that, and said, it's cheaper for me to fly the people that are in the sequel down to Texas and just make Texas look like Chicago than it is to just go back up to Chicago and shoot up in Chicago. It's way cheaper to shoot down here in Texas. So, and it's warmer, so we can shoot more year round. We don't have to worry about winter months and stuff like that. So, and we just plan a lot of, like, I'm writing it with a bunch of interior plans so that we don't have a lot of exterior shots, because I can just go get stock footage from Chicago for exterior shots later on. So,
yeah, you know, I was, yeah, you should definitely not destroy Airbnbs. Yeah, you know, funnily enough, for our movie Simp, I had asked, it took us forever to find the cabin. We found a cabin, and I was like, oh, do I do the sly thing where I'm like, oh, I just rent out the Airbnb and then just film a movie, don't tell them about it, you know? And I'm like, no, I can't do that. You have to be straight up. You have to be honest with people. And so I sent her this message like, hey, would it be okay if we filmed the movie? We'll keep the crew to a minimum, you know, only X amount of people are actually sleeping here. And they were totally cool. They were amazing. They were awesome people. And then, but I felt bad because at the end we had no shoes on the inside and everything. So people abided by those rules. But we had an incident where there was blood ended up ruining one of their blankets. And they kind of told me after there's blood on the ceiling somehow. I don't know how that got up there, but, you know, so we ended up having to so I'm like, okay, sorry, like I'll pay the cleaning fee. So I paid a cleaning fee and I bought them a new blanket. So, I mean, it's not a big deal, but they just said, hey, look, like, you know, you really respect them. And if anything does go wrong, heaven forbid, you know, you ruin one of their blankets or something. Luckily we didn't break any furniture or anything like that. But, you know, you definitely have to make things right, and we're still really good friends with them, and
that's good.
Great spot, great thing to do. So yeah, Sean says Dallas Fort Worth area can pass for Northern Illinois, the Chicagoland area easy.
Yeah, I agree, and I've already considered that, and that's why I'm not too concerned about it. If you shoot in certain spots, you're going to be just fine, as long as you don't get large exterior shots, and right. Did he just say Rucka moved out?
Yeah, Rucka moved to Austin, though.
Yeah, a lot of them moved to Austin. A lot of them are in Austin right now. I realized that the other day. I saw that Joey and Blair were in Austin. Or Joey's in Austin on it. But I think all the ZHC crew is in Austin now. I think they're all in Texas. I'm not, because I like Dallas Fort Worth.
Yeah. Because Austin's Texas, but not definitely not Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, anything else you guys we think we should cover while we have him here? It's been an amazing conversation, and
Man, it's been like a 2-hour conversation.
It's 2.5-hour convo.
Wow,
2.5,
cow.
almost 3 actually. 2 hour 40
Holy
minutes.
cow.
So we, that's the thing is like, that's what's so interesting is like two filmmakers talking to each other. We can ask you questions versus like any regular journalist would be like, well, what was your inspiration? Or they'll ask you the same tried and true thing.
Right.
Great collab. What is something that you didn't expect, maybe something that you had a vision for that turned out to be a lot better than it was, or something that having a script that you had made 20 plus years ago, now putting that into
I will say the thing that was great was when we shot the Daisy origin story scene, and my two bosses from work are in that scene. They play the general and the scientist, and my boss kind of looked like what's his face from Firestarter, like that white hair George whatever Firestarter character. And then I was sitting there and we were eating, and one of the crew members, Riley, we were sitting there eating like 2 nights before, and I still hadn't found anybody to be Stephen King, and I was like, I'll just fake it, it won't matter, whatever. And then Riley put on the wig, and I go, this wig that was laying around, he said, hey, can you talk like, no, I'm talking like this, like that. And then I was like, you're going to be Stephen King for the scene. And then it turned out great. It turned out everything worked out perfectly for that scene. But it was really it just worked out good that this parent reached out and said, my daughter's just trying to get started out. Do you have a little girl scene? And they said she's 7. And I go, I was looking like a 4-year-old to play this role. And then I was like, no, we can put her in a 7. That's fine. And then so we had this young version of Daisy or whatever. And she took video from Ruth and learned Ruth's accent. That little girl watched video of Ruth, who plays Disco Inferno, and learned how to talk like Ruth for her character.
Wow.
Yeah, that girl doesn't have an accent or anything. She just like developed it from what, because I said, man, could you learn Ruth's accent to like sound more like your baby Ruth. Baby Ruth. And I use that Baby Ruth line a lot. It was a joke, but yeah, but it was just, you never know who you're gonna find. And that's Delilah Hefner. And I have other projects now that I would have Delilah be a part of because she's a great little actress. And if we need her in Rideshare 2.0, I think she'd be great in that. She's great.
Okay, so we could say, hey there, Delilah. Hey there.
Right.
I think I like there were a lot of those jokes in there where it's almost like if you're smart enough, you'll get it, you'll laugh, and it's like, if you're not paying attention, you'll miss a joke, or if you're thinking about something else, there's like a lot of kind of one-liners and stuff, or like the V8 thing was definitely really funny.
Right.
One
of my favorite lines is. I can't even spoil the movie. Sorry, guys. I have several lines that when I hear them, I'm like, oh, that's funny. Like, this is a funny line. Well, one of them was like, did you get hit? Did somebody hit you? And she's asking about the car, and he had just been in like a fist fight with a bunch of people, and he's like, well, no. Well, yeah, sort of. I guess a bunch of people hit me, but that isn't the point. That isn't it. Right? Yeah, and it's just like the dumb throwaway stuff like that, where like she's like, is everything? You look different. Is everything okay? And he's like, oh, that's a loaded question. Like just stuff that you're and then like callbacks to things like condom jokes and things like that. There's a lot of things that happen in the movie that you're just like. Good times. Good times. And then and like little things that happen throughout the movie that you don't really pay attention to, and then they come up at the end, or they come up in a different scene, and you're like, oh, because that happened there, then this happened here. Because if you see this happened here, but then it didn't happen the way it should have happened here, and then all of a sudden here there's a different situation going on, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a very subtle like throwaway moment that isn't a throwaway moment.
Right, I like that. I like that. Oh, go ahead. Or
No,
like
I was
almost the lines like in Airplane, like Shirley, you can't be serious, and like, yes, I am serious. Don't call me Shirley.
Don't call me
So
Shirley,
it's like stuff like that, like where there's, especially in those lines.
So she's like, a hospital, what is it? Well, it's a place where people go when they're sick, but that's beside the point.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of that. And actually, the movie Bachelor Party, I don't know if you ever watched any of the Bachelor Party movies that we made. There's a lot of those types of one-liners, too, like the Sean Valentino character saying those lines. And, yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. Like, when you're making your own movie, too, it's almost like... Okay, so let me ask you this. So when you're making a movie, are you making...
Wait, I'm sorry. Before you ask this question, did you hear the ride share call out in the movie?
I did, yeah. When they go to the... Well, when the whole scene, right? When he's like, I'm a rideshare driver.
Well, when he goes... I was not happy with your rideshare performance, and I'm like, leave a review on YouTube, and that was
yeah. No, that was great. I like that, and I like how you said like, oh, I drive rideshare, and I like how you say that, and it's almost like it is cool nod.
I almost asked you, but then I didn't want to interfere with universes and stuff like that. But I did almost be like, hey, could I make this Hitch?
Yeah, dude. What's funny? When I was watching that, I'm like, oh, I wish he could have asked me to do the Hitch because I could have sent you the decals
because also in the Chunky Zeta universe, it was called Pickup, and that was the name of the app, and we call Pickup. And so there are different scenes in the movie where I think there was a scene I cut out where there was a football team, and they mentioned the Zeta College and stuff like that. There was like I did stuff so like it was in the Zeta universe sort of thing, and so like Brenda is actually Bradley's sister or whatever. And so I did that stuff, but yeah.
I feel like didn't you have like a Zeta drink, or you had something in the back, something else in the back other than that?
Oh yeah, I had a bunch of Zeta props in like a like the paddle. There's a scene where I hit the paddle, and there's a brand of condoms, and I made them Zeta condoms.
That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
From the grocery store.
And it was just like little things like that to promote out to try to like call in other things that I had done in that, or like call out, like there's a scene where I said, I think you're looking for the Polyester Club. That place has been closed for 20 years. And the joke being in the original movie, like nobody can get that except me and everybody all my college friends who've seen this movie are all like, oh yeah, the Polyester Club was what the Flannel Club was called in the first movie. And it would have been closed for 20 years because it's been 20 years since that movie came out. And so like it was just callbacks to things that, and I even called back, I even kept in the old university names too for like the different universities that, Silver Lake was like the college in, Silver Lake was the college in the Zeta movie, in the Zeta show. St. Haley Mills University was in the original BRADMAN movie. That was the college it was, because they were the home of the Haley's Comets. So I kept those colleges in the movie at different places. Like there was like scenes like there's a breakfast fundraiser at St. Haley Mills University campus or whatever like that. It was just to like keep stuff in there that, or whatever. Like whenever I write new projects, or I was working on a movie for this, I was writing a script, but then they ended up, because of COVID, they canceled it. But I'd written out the script for this writer, and it was going to be a Netflix show. And I had written in, I had made it so that it was part of the Zeta universe. Like I had written in stuff where they were like, my friend Brenda said this one, so like something like that. So then like they would have like these like, so then I could just be like, when this show gets popular, and they're like, do you have any other shows? I'm like, yeah, I have this other show that we should do. So anyways, but
yeah, well, see, that's the beauty of it, is like when you're making your own movies, you can make your own movie universe, and it's like, so I guess what I was thinking about is when you're making that movie, you're giving the thing is you're making it for an audience, right? A widespread audience, that anyone who doesn't know who BRADMAN is or has never seen anything that you've done, they could watch it. They could get the concept right away. But also, like you said, you have those nods in there for your core audience, the people that have known you for a long time, that'll be like, hey, you know, I love this. Where it's like you could probably if you wanted to, you could make the whole movie an inside joke movie. You know? Yeah. But
you know, like Rinks, like I'm saying, like the name Rinks is actually like an ex-girlfriend from college, and I made the character's name Rinks to piss her off in college, and I just kept the name, and I was like, well, but still the same name. I guess I'll just keep that name in there because I'm not going to change that name. But it was a joke because it was her nickname, and I made the character whatever, and then just stuff like that, just random things that.
Yeah, but so like you know, but you're still thinking about the broad audience too, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it was never a point where I felt like it was if anyone that didn't know you couldn't understand it, right?
And it doesn't work when it's just a bunch of inside jokes. It doesn't work when it's just a bunch of inside jokes. So
and that's the thing is like you make certain things for yourself, like certain lines. You know, at least with Rideshare, the one line that was a real inside joke was when you said, your character said, "Yes, indeed, yes, indeed."
Yes.
Are you saying
yes? No, I can't do it.
Say do it. Can you do it?
Yes, I can't do the voice. It's been a while. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, exceedingly.
So, exceedingly
so. Exceedingly so.
Yes.
You look thirsty. Would you like some water?
Yes. Yeah, so that is a inside joke between my brother and I, where my brother had some teacher or some person that he'd come across that would always say like, yes, indeed, exceedingly so. And it's like, that's so. Just literally no one else would ever get that except for my brother and I, but he had to have it. And it's kind of a funny line in there too, you know, so it is kind of something that, you know, it's hey, there's only a few times that you get to do that, and you know, you're making your own movie, and why not?
Okay, wait, somebody's at my door again. Be right back. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry I keep cutting out it.
He's Mr. Popularity, guys. He's Mr. Popularity. If you guys are just tuning in, we have Bradley Laberman, the star of BRADMAN, the movie. It is about a struggling comedian in Chicago. He's also a part-time rideshare driver. I know there's a lot of people that drive rideshare and or do gig work in this at Hayhoe Studios. But yeah, it's a really funny, over-the-top movie. It's campy, tongue-in-cheek, but it knows what it is. And the thing is, it surprisingly has a lot of heart. The movie has a lot of heart. So not only does it parody a lot of these superhero movies, but it actually has a lot more substance too. So I was actually really surprised and impressed by that. And you can watch it right now on Storyfire. You guys go to Storyfire and type in BRADMAN the movie. You can find it. We also have the link in the description below. So you can watch it for free. So he's really just getting his name out there. He's looking to, he's creating his own movie universe here. So it's really cool. It's really awesome. Oh, and by the way, he was the lead in Rideshare. So if any of you guys out there have seen the movie Rideshare, he was the lead on that. And now he's creating his own universe. And BRADMAN the movie is out right now. And
guys, I'm sorry. I ordered all this stuff and it all came at the same time. And they usually just leave it at the door. But now they're like, what's up? Knock, knock, knock. Let me in. And I'm like,
dude,
sorry about that.
No, it's funny. It's all good. Mr. Popularity. Mr. Popularity. Enoch Arden Joe, he's been using the small water bottles in Uber in tribute to Rideshare. Good. Well, I hope you didn't do anything to them, Joe. Yep. That would be bad. But we're talking about BRADMAN, the movie. So, okay. Well, I would the pinky. I love how that became a thing. I just loved it. And
really, yeah, so if you watch Rideshare, I'm just going to tell you guys this. I used my pinky excessively for scenes, and it was because I was trying to make Tremaine laugh while we were doing and then he kept all the scenes in, but there's a lot of stuff where it was just me. I would do things just to try to make Tremaine laugh, and then he would keep them into the scene. Like, there's a scene where I'm making coffee, and I was like, I pour a bunch of sugar. I think I pour a bunch of sugar in, and I put one drop of cream, like a tiny drop of creamer in, and then you kept it in. You just like,
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so brilliant. I remember that, and I said, I think my note was like, "Yeah, put in the cream weirdly" or something like that. I think I was like, "Do it weirdly." You're like, I got this. I got this. And you did it, and I was not expecting that at all. Like, it just literally it's two tiny little drops. Like,
yeah.
Doo-doo, and there's even a little sound effect, like little drop, and it makes me laugh so much. And even in the movie, it makes me laugh. And then also, I think it all started with the whole pinky thing started when I said push the pills down with your pinky. I think that's what it was. I think that was the first night, and then you kind of teased me the rest of the time. So any excuse to use your pinky. And that one time you adjusted your glasses.
I pushed my glasses up. Yeah.
I kept that one in there because a split second later, like not even a tenth of a second after what you see in the movie, we all just bust up, we just cracked up laughing.
Right.
That was
right. It's so funny to watch a movie and know that stuff, and then. Because, like, the same thing with BRADMAN is, like, there were, like, Jenny and I always joke around because there was a scene where it was going late and she was pissed off and she wanted to go somewhere and she wanted to leave and I was taking forever. And it's the scene where we're coming back from the bar and we're, like, making out really heavy. And we were just both pissed off at each other. But we shot that scene. Like, it was like like, we were able to just go on and off, like, okay, well, we're in love, and let's get this done, and, like, make out and do this scene or whatever. And I think that's why, for people, it was very confusing to people, like, when people would be like, are you guys dating? Or I'm like, no, we're just hang out. We're just good friends. It's great times. I was like, I wish that I had a real relationship that was as good as and I said this to her the other day. I said, sometimes I wish that the BRADMAN life was like the real life, because BRADMAN had everything, like, even though he had emotional issues, whatever, everything was still good. And he had like a good thing going on. Supervillain girls after him and all this other stuff. It's a good time.
Right. Yeah. And he's able to deal with it. You know, so I was going to ask you, like, where is the line? Because it was like, you know, I feel like a lot was inspired by real life, but it's obviously a fantasy world because we're talking about superheroes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But where is a line blurred from, like, the BRADMAN character to your own life and?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is in reality, in absolute real life. I am oblivious. This is a true story about me. I'm oblivious to women. When a girl is interested in me, I'm oblivious to it, and I just totally. And this stems from, like, a bad high school trauma experience where I asked a girl out to prom thinking that she wanted to go to prom with me, and then she didn't want to go to prom with me, and it was just like a disaster. So ever since that moment, but then at the same time, I've never necessarily had an unattractive girlfriend either. I'm just saying, I'm not,
ladies, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not, and it's about personality stuff like that.
Yeah, but charm, personality.
Charm, personality. And so that was part of it too, was that, but I think the line is, I don't have superpowers.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else about Bradley, when I was writing it, I was in a place where I think it's more telling of me as a person when he's like saying, I just want a relationship, I just want a life, I just want to be happy, I'm done. For me, I put my life on hold for 10 years to do television, to do stuff like that. And so for me, chasing fame kept me from having a normal life, because I moved to New York, I moved to LA. I stopped, I'd been married before, I got divorced. Then I went out and did this stuff. That. Yes, I don't talk about this stuff. So I've had numerous lives in my life. And so for this is like, being a superhero is a lot like chasing fame. Like, you want to do it and you have the need to do it, and once you get involved in doing it, you have to keep doing it because you have the ability to do it. But it's keeping you from other stuff. You enjoy being a superhero, but there's not really you can't make a living out of being a superhero. Just like you enjoy acting, but it takes a lot to make an actual life out of being an actor. Like, if you have to go really far to whatever, and then no matter how hard you act, there's going to be people that are going to fight you along the way. There are going to be people that don't respect you. There's going to be people that, you know, you're going to be the problem. Being a superhero, being an actor, a director, writer, also all the same thing. So I think that's the parallel. I think that's why it's so easy to write, because I thought about the stuff I put on hold. Because when I moved to Chicago, I was done. I wasn't going to do anything else again. I wasn't going to write. I wasn't going to do anything. I was just going to be a regular person making real estate videos for a company, and that was it. I was like done doing regular stuff. And then after doing the movie,
was that part of being burnt out? Would you say, or trying so hard for so long? And
it was part of being burnt out. I had just gotten done working with a guy in LA before I moved to Chicago, and this guy, it turned out he had scammed a bunch of people, and so I was part of that.
Is his name Harold? Okay, no, sorry, that's
no, it's no. Oh, is that
no,
a joke?
Yeah.
No. But then after that, I made a point. I'm like, I'm really going to be picky on who I work with. If I'm doing this, I'm very picky with who I work with. I had numerous people that auditioned to be in the movie who didn't show up for auditions, and then I just didn't cast them.
Yeah, well, it's hard to cast them if they're not at the audition.
Well, no, but when they reach out later, I'd be like, I'm sorry, the audition was at this time, and you weren't there this time, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna. You can think I'm a dick or whatever, but that's how it's gonna be. And that was a lot of it. It's like, I think there for a time in Chicago, I had a reputation that I was a dick because I had been in LA, I had been in New York, and Chicago isn't LA or New York. They want to think they are, but they're not. Same as Dallas-Fort Worth isn't New York or LA. But and I will bring
Sacramento, I could say the same, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
and if I'm going to bring if you're going to mistake my motivation and professionalism as being a stickler or whatever like that, then take it. I'll take it. That's fine. I'll be rude. That's fine. I'm trying to put out a good show. At the end of the day, when people were complaining, like when I had paid everybody and I was like, we're good to go, and people were like, why hasn't the movie come out? Why isn't the movie coming out yet? And I was like, well, in reality, the only person that affects the movie coming out is me. Like if the movie never comes out, then it's on me. Because the movie never came out, and so I'm like,
but it still sucks because I mean, a lot of people, of course, everyone put the time, effort, energy into it. They want to see them, you know, they want to see that. But that's a tough question because it's easier said than done. Well, why isn't, you know, for me, someone said, oh, well, why isn't Sim out yet? It's like, well, do you have $8,000 in your pocket that you could help solve this problem? Because, you know, then they shut up real quick, you know. So
they do, and that was the same thing. That was the same thing with that dealing with the music rights, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you you want to do a fundraiser for me? Do you want to do something like that? Because you feel like you never want to do anything other than you need to do. So
or like try not. I mean, people ask, I don't know. Or they ask for a reel before the movie's out, and that's kind of tough. Like, I'm kind of iffy about stuff like that. I mean, if it's gonna help them, like, I could send a little something, you know, before the movie's out. But anyway, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, and that was the other thing where I was like, I'll give you if all you're looking for is like a reel for your acting reel, I'll give you an acting reel. But if you could not, like, I did have one person cut out a major scene in the movie and post it on Facebook, and I'm just like, dude, you just like spoiled the plot of like a scene in the movie. And I'm like, you know, I get it that you're only in this scene, but you could have just cut part of it and not.
Yeah, well, see, that's what's tough is like people that aren't as professional. Like if they say, hey, look, it's only gonna go between me and my agent, and for any future casting, like, okay, I'm cool with that. But if they're like, oh yeah, I want to post this for my own for my reel on public, like, you know, and spoil the ending of a twist, especially a movie like Rideshare that has a twist ending, you know. You know, it's not cool, guys. But you know what is cool? BRADMAN, the movie, is available to watch right now. You guys can go watch it. Go watch it right now. Please subscribe to him on Storyfire. I guess, is that how that works? Or you don't have to be subscribed, but you can watch it.
You don't have to be a subscriber, but go subscribe to me on Storyfire. Because I would like to get more than 42 subscribers on Storyfire, which is weird that it's gotten all these views. And
well, it's great that they're pushing it out, and that you know that they want content like
this.
Well,
they just announced that they're pushing that they're promoting new, like they're rebranding, because everybody that used to be featured are all old people that don't even use the app anymore. So they said, we're getting rid of all these people and we're putting out people that are actually promoting out stuff. And Storyfire 2.0 is coming out in a couple weeks, and that's going to be even more insane. And,
wait, what's coming out in a couple weeks?
Storyfire 2.0.
Oh,
they're upgrading Storyfire, and because literally Storyfire was sold off and then rebought back by somebody else. So it was it's got its own story, and so they know how to fire.
It's got its own story. It's fire.
But I'm happy to be part of it, and I have several projects that I'm working on that I like them because, like I said, it's not YouTube. I'm not getting tons of views on it, but I am getting tons of views on it. But the nice thing is that I'm on a platform that they appreciate that I'm on their platform. Like, I can put something on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't give a crap if I'm on YouTube.
Right.
Like, I'm just a dime a dozen on YouTube. On Storyfire, they're like, who do you recommend for the top of the new page when we change people out? And I'm getting I keep getting tagged because people are like, BRADMAN TV stuff has to go up there. Because I put that up there, I put I Dump For You up there, I put a bunch of stuff up there. So there's a lot of videos that they like. So
I was just about to say, and your socials are at BRADMAN TV, is that correct? Everywhere?
Yep, at BRADMAN TV or at BRADMAN the movie.
Okay, at BRADMAN TV right here. At BRADMAN the movie. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Especially want to thank BRADMAN himself. Thank you. And as someone that has watched it, yeah, of course, you're welcome. Someone that, I'm a friend of yours, and I saw your movie, and I can honestly say I was highly entertained throughout. I enjoyed it. I laughed a lot, and I must say, I am very much proud of you. It is not easy to do what you did.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate it a lot. I'm going to tell you that I appreciate you, Tremaine, because you actually watched the movie. And you didn't pull like a Jay Leno and just say, I might have saw the movie. A piece of it. Let's watch a clip right now.
Oh, man. Nothing's more annoying, especially if you go on a podcast and, like, if the movie's been out already and they haven't even watched the movie, or they, or if you've made a bunch of other movies and they haven't even watched it, and it's a different, there's a disconnect there because you can't even talk about it fully, without it, and it's like, hey, it's a thing of respect. Like, no, I will watch your movie. Anyone that's in, the Rideshare universe or friend group universe, if Joe makes a movie, Enoch Garden, I will watch it. But, yeah.
Can I, so I noticed, so as we leave, can I post the trailer real quick? Because apparently it gives me the option to share video files. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do we want to?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's watch try that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me see if I can actually do this because I didn't think I could actually do this, and then I clicked on it as a. This is how we can end. This is 2 minutes, so.
As long as you guys don't flag me for copywritten content.
I won't flag you for copyright. I promise.
Thank you.
I thought about that the other day. I've just been going through and flagging my old show because I restarted it. So I believe it's called. Here it is.
Okay, guys, we're about to watch the trailer. Add it to the stage. I'm going to take. Should we stay on or should we go off?
Just watch it. Watch it.
Okay.
My name is Professor Victor Nordic, and I am from the planet Time Master. I finalized a superhero formula minutes before our planet was going to explode. So I did the logical and most scientific thing I could do. I shot it into space in hopes that it would be consumed by someone who could put the powers to use.
All right. Exploding planet. Superhero formula. Yeah, that sounds like the plot of a really bad movie. Say hello to Bradley 2.0.
Be a man.
Do you have any protection?
Well, I am bulletproof. I don't know. This is an energy drink. It's not some magical super formula.
Don't break my heart, my achy breaky heart.
BRADMAN.
BRADMAN? What a stupid name.
That scene, Brad.
Right.
Very strange.
That right there is Paul Nolan, and he's actually on the show live from Studio 6B. And I just want to share that. Yes, I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, I need a person to do like a podcast looking scene. Would you like to do it?" And he was like, "Yes, totally. Thank you. I'll take the Kevin Smith vibes too. I'll take that." So, so he's in it, and I like that, and I did that sort of like a way to get people from Real America's Voice to tune in and watch it and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll do whatever I can. But thanks for having me on, Rain. Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. You're absolutely welcome. I'm looking forward to the future and seeing more people respond to it. If you guys watched the movie, let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. And also, go watch the movie. Go watch BRADMAN, the movie, right now. See you guys.
Goodbye, everybody.
Subscribe. Oh, yeah, guys, if you guys want to support the movie studio on Patreon, please support on Patreon, patreon.com/Hayhoe Studios. But support independent filmmakers like Bradley Laberman and us. Okay, all right. Bye, guys.
Bye.